British Championships. We're here for the touring car action now. We've just had the Clio Cup action earlier on this morning, and some great racing at that as well. It's a great championship battle we've got here between Matt Richards and Lewis Manley, but it's not always been the same way, has it? It's been dominant, you tell me earlier on, but it's relatively close in the championship. 17 points gap in the championship, by the way.
It's closer now, yes, but
yeah.
It was almost a runaway for Richards at one point. We had a round in Thruxton where Manley didn't score very well at all due to circumstances out of his control, but due to some bad rounds from Richards, it's now come back closer together.
Absolutely. So what can we expect then with these guys around here today? Is it going to be a straight squabble between Manley and Richards, or are we expecting a few more to join the mix?
It's hard to tell. I mean, earlier I thought it was going to be a two-horse race in the Clios, and we ended up with quite a big group of cars at the front. I wouldn't put it past the same thing happening again in this series. We just had practice and we're going to go to qualifying later, and the pace seemed to be a couple of people quite faster than a lot of the others, but were they on softs, were they on mediums? I think we're going to look forward to another big group of cars, and possibly, like we had earlier, small group breaking off at the front.
Small group racing, yeah. So with close racing, we're expecting to see some brilliant action once again here at Croft, and be sure to join us throughout the racing action. Qualifying is coming up next, and you can join us for that in just a few moments. Everyone, and welcome back to qualifying ahead of round 5 for the the SRBC Championship. And we're here at round 5 here in Croft, and we're looking forward to 3 races before that all kicks off. Though we've got a 15-minute qualifying session for these guys in the touring car series. We had the Clio Cup earlier on, and it was a very, very close qualifying session then, in both qualifying sessions in fact. So what are we really looking at for here? We think it's going to be a lot closer than what it was in practice, because it was relatively close in practice as well.
Oh yeah, the front two were relatively close, a couple of fouls between, and the rest of them were all a little bit further back, but I expect it to all get a little bit faster. Everyone's kind of learned the track in practice. Some of them haven't actually done any laps around this track until they came in here today. I'm expecting with a soft tyre compound on, not all of them went onto it, that we'll have a few lap times close to the front two of practice.
Of course, if you were watching earlier on, I expect this to be a hell of a lot faster. I think it's fair to say the lap times are going to be significantly faster than that of the Clios. We're expecting like low 24s, maybe low 24s, or
25s.
25s.
Some people mostly will be 26s, I reckon.
Okay, so not too bad, but we'll see what all kicks off down here in qualifying then, as everyone begins their out laps, and just getting those tyres ready ahead of this qualifying session. Of course, they're going to all be qualifying on those soft, most on soft tyres, if not all on soft tyres.
I expect them all to be on soft tyres. There's no real advantage in qualifying to be on mediums now. So usually what you'll see is out lap, a couple of quick laps, sometimes only one, straight back in for an in lap, new boots on, go back out and have another run.
As we said earlier, Lewis Manley versus Matt Richards, really looking at in the championship. It's 17 points between them at this stage, but it's not going to be plain sailing for them today with all the with other drivers involved today. There's plenty of quality drivers out there.
Yes, and as you can see, we've got Curry, who was third fast in that practice session and also won the Clio Cup races earlier today. He's no slouch at all, and he can definitely throw the cat amongst the pigeons. For this round, we've also got Callum Cripps, who's dropped in and out of this season, but he's extremely fast.
Absolutely right, he is. Callum Cripps, well, as you said, obviously not taking part in many races this year, but 12th in the standings at the moment with 53 points to his name, behind Ben Winter, who is 11th. But there is a few good little battles going on further down in the championship, like, for example, the battle for third place. Francis Harold and Daniel Handover, they're currently, level on points in the championship.
Yeah, and Harold and Handover are both very quick, aggressive drivers, the best way to put it. Not aggressive as in punting you off, but aggressive as in they will put that car where they need to make sure they make that overtake. Harold, I'd probably say, is even slightly more aggressive than that, but they're both quick drivers, and I'm sure neither of them wants to lose that last third place on the podium.
Absolutely, and first lap time has come in then. It's from Daniel Hyde in the Vauxhall Astra with a 26.7 at the moment, but that's the first lap time on the board. We'll see just how quick a lap time that is, if we can lower the benchmark as this session progresses. 26.7 the first lap.
It's not a bad banker lap to put in case everyone starts going off and hitting barriers or possibly on the grass. I'm starting to think you might be right. We might get 124 at this rate, but we'll see what happens.
Absolutely, and Talbot Len lowers the bar even further with a 25.7. All the laps coming onto the board now. Manguera, is it? He's in third place, not too far behind Hyde. It's a few thousandths between, so not too far behind in very loose terms. It's very close between those two at the moment.
Not far behind, almost on the bumper, one would say.
Yeah.
In that case, in a race, or parked in a very crowded car park.
Absolutely. We saw, as we were saying earlier on, there's a lot of close action in the Clios earlier. A lot of groups getting together really to form a battle between themselves, and it was really a case of who could manage the tyres the best, and at what given moment do they decide to manage the tyres the best as well. It was a race where it was full of attrition really, but it was a race also where you had to make sure your tyres lasted the entire distance. We saw what happened earlier on with Luke Bennett, just falling all the way just right off the back of the front of the field. So similar fate here for the touring car drivers?
In fact, it's actually a little bit worse because you have success ballast in the touring cars, and it makes a massive difference with your weight in the car of how fast your tyres will wear going through the corners. It's basic physics really, but people like Lewis and also just like Matt will have a lot of weight in the car at the start of the races, and depending on how they do in the first race, the second race might be even harder for them.
Absolutely. Colin Talbot, I should say, lowers the bar again with a 25.4. Again, it's still early days in qualifying, so don't read too much into it at the moment. Then Lewis Manley pops in, a 24.1. So he is absolutely smashed in the MG6, and then goes faster. And even faster is Harold in the Vauxhall Astra, goes and does a 23.9. It's a pretty impressive effort. You said we may not even get into 24s, and it seems like we may be badly wrong here. They're going into 23s.
I'm wrong. You're definitely right. You said 24s, and you were going to go lower, and I went higher. I'm way off the mark by the looks of things.
Absolutely. And Curry moves himself into third place as well. Handover is fourth, and then Willis moves himself into third place. Matt Richards has moved himself into second place. So it's all kicking off. Everyone's starting to get lap times in this early part of qualifying here at Croft, and it's a very, very close gap between them, between Richards and Harold. And well, you said he was a quick driver. But well, I mean, pole position quick, was that really?
Yeah, he's had pole positions before already this year. Yeah. He's a very quick driver indeed. Sometimes in the race, as I said, he's an aggressive driver. Sometimes the aggression means he loses it a little bit and cooks the tyres a bit too much in the race. But he's a very good driver, very quick driver. As we've seen, he does endurance racing as well, and he's very quick in that. So I've got no doubt in mind he can get a pole position and stay with these leaders in this race. I completely forgot about it when I was talking about fast drivers earlier, doing them a disservice there.
Yeah, crossover between the endurance racing and the sprint racing, as it were, and some similarities, some not very similar aspects of it. Of course, duration of tyres is one thing in endurance racing. This is, of course, you've got to manage your tyres a little bit more as well. So I guess there's a couple of similar things you can sort of throw in the mix there. But at the moment, it's Harold from Richards and Manley in third, currently runner-up, and second place man in the championship, I should say, is Manley. Willis is fourth, it's Cripps in fifth, Curry sixth. Handover seventh, it's Richardson in eighth. Ben Windsor is ninth. I believe that's Ben Brown rounding out the top 10. Talbot is 11th. Ollie Davis is currently 12th with Wilson, Hyde and Manguera at the back of the field.
And here we go. Here's our first stops, a new set of boots, and they're going to get back out and straight back on it. I wonder if Edson's going to pit. No, he's staying out. Maybe doesn't feel he needs any new tyres yet. Should be another round two of the fighting for the top spot again in a few laps' time.
So it looks like Manguera's on another push lap then. He's currently 15th fastest at the moment. Not too far behind Hyde in 14th at the moment in the Mercedes-Benz, but we'll see what he's able to achieve on this current lap. He's obviously gone for the soft compound of tyres, but how much will that do him justice, I wonder, as he crowds now down towards the fast left-hander, I believe it is, a right-hander I should say. Very, very tricky, this one. Plenty of people trying to make overtakes in the Clios earlier around here, and it's not the easiest corner to nail. Definitely a place to overtake around here.
100% inside, outside cutbacks. We saw a couple of great moves around the outside, one from Ben Brown, taking second in the final race this morning. And I don't know if you'll see it in the touring cars, because they've got a lot more power and they tend to try and understeer like the Clios do, but they really fight your arms. It's very hard to counter the steering, like counter steering from the touring car as it is opposed to a Clio.
Yeah, Mangrove maybe have thought he was going to get a nice little toe there coming onto that slight back straight before he entered the complex section. And this is, as we said earlier, probably one of the most tricky parts of the circuit to absolutely nail around here. Plenty of people, when the tyres are worn, seem to go deep, very, very deep into this final corner and the a couple of corners previous to that. Manguera comes around the final corner though, to complete his lap, and where will he put that Mercedes-Benz? You would feel it's maybe a better lap than the first one. Let's see where he goes. He does improve and he goes into 14th fastest, albeit just one place above where he was prior to that lap, and ahead of Hyde in 14th place.
Yep, and all the cars have switched to their brand new fresh set of rubber, gone to actual live laps now, so in about 1 minute, probably about just another minute before we've seen some very quick laps going through again. We're currently with Manley, watching him go around. It seems that, I'm pretty sure there's that Harold behind him, I think. And yes, it is. He's trying to get a toe off him for a good lap. Obviously, Harold's already got the fastest lap, and he's trying to improve it.
So you see where Manley can put himself. I believe last season's champion, so he's got some credentials, especially in the touring car scene. And let's see what he can achieve on this lap. On those soft compound of tyres. He's currently third fastest at the moment, but you look at the gap there, it's not very much in it, really. It's about 0.2 of a second between himself and Harold, who's currently on top, and actually behind him on circuit there. So trying to get the toe is Harold in the Astra, but definitely may work for him. It depends what his lap time it comes out to be towards the end of the lap.
It's been a little bit scruffy this time for Manley. I think he's trying to push because he sees Harold in his mirrors, and Harold actually seems to be held up by him. But you have to remember that Manley has a lot more weight in the car, so even with qualifying, he has a lot more weight.
Both the sides have got their laps on that occasion, so maybe just waiting for a bit more clean air, perhaps, and just to go again.
I believe, yeah, Manly's gone for clean air, and Harold, I think, is being smart and has followed him to try and get a toe next time he comes out, just to try and use him as a marker.
It was a very late pull into the pits, though.
Yeah.
So
it looked like he was going straight until he saw him pull in, and he suddenly went, I think I'll dive in as well.
There you go, another fast lap time, and it's the fastest of all so far. It's Matt Richards in the MG6, and he's gone and done a 23.8 at the moment, and that's 600ths of a second faster. 600ths of a second faster than Harold in second. Curry's moved himself into third place, and it's all starting to narrow itself up again towards the top 3 or 4 cars.
Yeah, but I've just seen Harold exiting the pits behind Manley, so I'm sure he's going to try and place himself behind him for a slipstream on their first out lap. But what a lap from Richards. He always sets pretty quick lap times. We were saying earlier that we expect him to be top of the timesheets, and he's proving us right in this qualifying session.
Absolutely right, and there's not too long, I believe, left of this qualifying session, and it is Richards on pole at the moment from Harold in second place. Curry is third, Manley is fourth, Willis is fifth, Cripps is sixth, then you have Handover in seventh place. Richardson is 8th, Winton 9th, Brown is running out the top 10, Talbot is 11th, Terry Davison 12th, Hyde is 13th, Wilson, who finished on the podium earlier on today, is 40 at the moment, yellow flag in sector 1, and Manguera is currently last of the runners racing around here. As we watch an MG fly around the final corner, that is Richards.
Looks like he's coming in for some new boots as well. Ooh, take that cone. Who else have we got that's doing pretty well? So Cripps is into 6th. Like I say, he's been in and out of a championship this entire season. He can't make every round, but he makes the ones he can. So not a bad position for him. Ben Winter up to 10th. Ben Brown, 2nd earlier in the Clio Championship in 9th. This is Ollie Davies that we're watching at the moment. In his lovely blue Subaru. He's been a step-in driver most of his season for other people, and he's finally secured himself an official slot. And we're hoping he can do well. He's been on the podium before. Very quick driver. Subarus actually wants to look out for it in the race. They don't wear their tyres as much as the front-wheel drive cars, and you can probably see them making moves towards the end.
Absolutely, yeah. Very much got the credentials as Ollie Davis in the Veloce car. The great Veloce team really going on quite nicely indeed, proving themselves once again. Was a Pro League racer, Ollie Davis, last I know. Now a bit of an avid kart racer, and he's doing well here in the Subaru. Let's see how he can get on. Runs a bit wide though, going into the complex.
And as you saw earlier, there was only 1/10 of a second covering the top 3 drivers at the moment in qualifying. That is literally nothing. It's like blink and you'll miss it. If you put them alongside each other, you wouldn't even be able to tell across the line.
Right. Cripps has moved himself into 2nd place. He's half a 10th behind now. Richards, and I think that Davis just come across the line. I believe that was a lap that he was completing, so this will be his push lap, I believe.
Yeah, I think that was an out lap, the last one.
Yeah, so we'll see how he gets on over the course of that lap. Meanwhile, as I said, it's all very close at the front of the field. Look at that, top 4 covered by a 10th. Manley 5th at the moment, 2.5 tenths behind pole time. He's got some work to do, you'd say.
Yeah, a lot of work to do. I'd expect him to join in with that 10th of a second between the top lot, even if it is a top 5. Those are pretty much the 5 drivers you would look out for.
Richards is beginning another push lap himself. Currently on pole position, he wants to extend that margin even further, and we may see it here from the championship leader. Let's see how he gets on. Matt Richards down into turn 1. It's a very, very difficult corner to get right. And in the race, we know it's going to be a bottleneck down there. It always was last time, but the cars were going side by side through there, so may expect to see some racing action. And through the chicane, flat out easy through there, and he's going to get a nice toe actually from a bit of traffic ahead of him. Yeah,
the only thing I'd worry about is a bit harder to go through their side by side in these touring cars than the Clio. It's a bit longer, and going through their side by side might end in tears.
Bit of door-to-door action, that won't go down a miss. Manley's improved on his time, albeit he only by a few thousandths or a few hundredths of a second. He is now still in 5th with a 24.0, just trying to break that 1 minute 24 barrier. Wants to get into the 123s, and actually there was a bit of scoring action from Richards there. Yellow flag in the first sector, and yeah, Richards pushing on a lap now, and I think may have just end of qualifying. Matt Richards on pole.
So we're going to have a quick break now before we come out to the first race of a championship, and we'll do a quick run through the drivers at that point. So stick with us and we'll see you soon.
and welcome back to round 5, race 1 of the SRBC British Championship. We're here for the touring car action now, and after a very, very close qualifying session, we're about to get underway with 18 laps ahead of the touring car drivers. Let's take you through the grid then. That's the best thing to do on the formation lap. So Matt Richards starts on pole position, alongside him is Callum Cripps. It's third for Francis Harold and fourth for John Curry. Fifth, Lewis Manley, currently second in the championship. Sixth is Ben Willis. Seventh is Daniel Handover. Eighth is Will Richardson. Ben Brown is ninth. Ben Winter, he rounds out the top 10. Noddy Davis is 11th, with Chris Wilson in 12th. Colin Talbot is 13th. Daniel Hyde is 14th, and Edson Manguera starts from the back of the field. And we didn't note in qualifying, Sean, that the ballast that these guys were running as well. And that is an impressive effort then from the likes of Matt Richards.
An extremely impressive effort. He has the maximum amount of ballast possible, and he went faster than anybody. Another quick shout out really is to Harold, who's got the third most ballast out of everybody. And he still put a very quick lap time in, and not to take anything away from Cripps, he did qualify second, but he had zero ballast in the car, so he was weight free. So we'll see how he does in this race as well without that ballast.
Absolutely, it's a very close grid as we saw in qualifying. Just a tenth of a second made the top 4 in the end, and all those actually got into the 23s. Lewis Manley just missing out. Just missing out. He's on a 24.7 in 24.0 in qualifying, just missing out, as I say. And we're getting ready then to get onto the grid. Through the complex they will go, and don't expect the side-by-side action possibly through the first corners, as we saw with the Clios. These are much bigger cars. Some would say, well, also very long cars as well, the likes of the Subaru, etc. They're very long cars. So let's see how it all comes down into turn 1. They may have to go single file. That may end us up with a bit of drama through the first corner.
Well, I hope we won't have any drama. Like I say, it might be a bit more of a procession through the first corner, but they're very ambitious, these drivers. And I would say look out for Cripps possibly making a good start. No weight, rear-wheel drive car, might get the good launch off the line.
So here we go then, they're all filing up onto the grid. All 15 runners here at Croft. Round 5, race 1 of the Simply Race British Championship. Looking forward to some great action once again as they file themselves onto the grid. As I say, 18 laps ahead of these guys. It won't be one at the first corner, but most of them will maybe try and make sure that they can get through it unscathed. Let's see how it all unfolds for them. Race 1 then is just about to get underway. We'll wait for those engine notes to rise. And there they are. We are going to be racing for race 1. It's a pretty good launch from Richards off the front. And actually, no, it's not. Cripps has got away brilliantly. Richards is bogged down at the start. Cripps then takes the lead as they go down in towards turn 1. Matt Richards did not get the launch that he was looking for. The two in behind Curry has just got ahead of his teammate as well, of Harold. So they've both managed to swap positions there. Really, really poor start then from the race leader, and it's not ideal for him really, but it gets all through the first corner. Doesn't look like there's any incidences on the opening lap thus far. That may all change soon though. Poor start though, you have to be said, from Matt Richards.
Even poorer start for Davies. He's dropped down to 14th now, and he started up in 11th on the grid. But I'm not sure if it was a poor start as much as, like I said, it's a rear-wheel drive car from Callum Cripps, and also he had all that weight extra in his car. It's probably just held him back a little bit.
Absolutely, so we have to make the difference up as the race progresses. So it is Cripps who leads from Richards. Curry is third. Harold is currently 4th then. Willis is 5th. Manley's dropped a position. He's down in 6th place. He's behind those two. He's even further behind those two Vauxhall Astros. He's got to dispose of an MG before he gets to those two. And Manley currently second in the championship. 17 points back from the the championship leader. We'll see if he's able to make that difference up over this coming races that we have today.
And of course, Willis, who's actually overtaken Manley to take that 5th place spot, is in an MG, but without all the weight in it that Manley's got. So it's equal machinery, but less weight. So advantage Willis for this one. Is going to make it difficult for Manley to get past, as he is teammates with our current championship leader, Richards.
Absolutely, and you just saw there, just quickly, Willis was trying to defend from Lewis Manley, who was trying to go for a move into the final corner, couldn't quite get it done, and Manley will have to find another way to play this game correctly to get past Willis as best as he can. He's 6th at the moment, but he's got a great run on him coming into the chicane. The ballast may make a bit of a difference, but we'll see just how much a difference it makes on board Lewis Manley's car.
it looks like he's under pressure now from Ben Winter behind the Subaru. Again, less weight in that Subaru.
Yeah, Winter looks like he's trying to go for the undercut move in that Subaru. I'm not sure he's going to get it done on this occasion. He's not. And now Winter's got to watch out behind for handover. He's not just... He's really close. It's all nip and tuck on the opening couple of laps in this race. A second, though, as Callum Cripps pulls out a bit of a gap to his main rivals, Matt Richards. No ballast on Callum Cripps' car, which may be the difference in speed between those top two at the moment.
He might as well enjoy it, because if he wins this race, he's going to have all the ballast in the second race, and he'll have to learn to deal with that himself, which obviously advantage for Richards there, as he's actually learning to drive with weight in the car now, and he'll get a little bit out for that second race.
Yeah, handover trying to get a move done on Winter in behind there. The Subaru and the Astra going very close together, but not on this occasion. Manley is still sizing his opportunities to get past Willis in front of him. And he's trying to switch back move there. There's another move on behind. That's handover has got past Ben Winter. They're going to be wheel to wheel then. Down towards turn one. Can the Subaru out-track the Vauxhall? Callum Cripps has done the fastest lap of the race. Can Winter hold on then? Down towards turn one. He's going to have to give him every last bit of braking point. Yes, he's done it. He keeps his position, and it's a bit of clean racing between those two. Ben Winter keeps his 7th place from handover, but that was getting mighty tight between those two.
Very good race between both of them. Again, a lot of respect shown to each other, and Ben Brown now watching to see if he can pick up some places. He's good friends with Daniel Handover in real life, if I remember correctly, and like we said earlier, no friends on the racetrack, you just want to beat them.
Absolutely, that's the only thing that matters really when you're on a racetrack, is beating everyone around you, whether they're mates or not. But we saw earlier on that Ben Brown actually managed to get a 2nd place finish in the Clio Cup in race 2, I believe. So we're interested to see how he can fare here. He's 9th at the moment, with a couple of good points. Hasn't lost any positions, hasn't gained any either. So he's currently 9th at the moment. But look at Manley, he's hassling and harrying the back of Willis then. Just about sizing his opportunity and just making it work, making it stick. That's the most important thing around here. And Manley will try the outside line as they head into towards the complex. Manley's then got the inside line for the next corner, but they've made contact with each other, and that's nearly close. So close to the tyre barriers there was Willis, but manages to get away with it. Manley getting a bit argy-bargy, and there goes Ben Winter up the inside of Manley, and then Winter's going to be side by side with the runner-up in the championship at the moment. They're going to go head-to-head down towards turn one. Can Winter outbrake Manley? You really could be an opportunity for the Subaru, who's going to try and go around the outside into the first corner. An ambitious move wouldn't happen on this occasion for him, and Ben Winter slots in behind. He is now currently in 6th place, but that all started to kick off for him, and look at the train that started to form behind them.
Yeah, I do wonder how they're going to view that later on. There was talk earlier about that exact corner in our driver's briefing earlier, about making sure you leave enough room for the driver who's coming down the inside, being alongside and braking. It looked like it was all nice and tidy from Manley, just a slight bit of contact to set them all off.
Yeah, now handover's looking feisty right up behind Winter as well, and there's side-by-side action further back as well. So Manley has been told to let Willis pass then, and that's not ideal for him. Look how far he's had to fall back down the field then. So he's lost a heap of positions. He's now 8th place, is Lewis Manley. He's actually embracing the battle then with Brown behind him, who's looking racy. But look at those Vauxhall Astros flying through there then. And Brown then ahead of Richardson and Wilson, and now Ollie Davis is looking for a move. And look at the defensive driving, so aggressive under braking. There was Wilson, but Davis gets the move done on the inside, and a brilliant move at that from the Subaru driver. Moves himself into 11th place.
That was millimetre perfect, that overtake. It could have gone all completely wrong, and he just made it stick and made it work. I did wonder about the Manley move on Willis. Like I said, Mike brought it up in the briefing, and he stuck to his word about it. And unfortunately, Lewis has had to give those places up, and they've both lost out because of that.
Absolutely, and Manley is staring at the same rear wing he was just a couple of laps ago, and he's going to have to find another way through without making contact with Willis in front of him. It's been a really tough race for Manley so far, but let's see how we can fare with, well, we're on lap 5 of 18, so it's a fair way to go yet, but I'm sure he'll be hedging his bets as to where he can make this overtake.
The only silver lining, I suppose, for Manley is the lack of weight will be in his car next race, but he won't be thinking about that right now. All he'll be thinking is, I'm in 8th and my championship rival is in 2nd place. That's not good.
The championship rival is 2nd place, but look at the gap between himself and the race leader. Cripps has just bolted at the front then. It's 2.5 seconds between those two, and that is a sizable margin. Whether he's taking too much at the tyres too soon, we said this earlier, or whether it's the ballast playing its role. There's so many different factors in these touring car races that you can never be too sure which one is which. But Callum Cripps leads from Matt Richardson second. It's John Curry in third at the moment, and Harold is fourth.
Yeah, I suppose definitely the lack of weight is definitely helping Cripps in this case. And the thing about the tyres is also a difficult one, because the rear-wheel drive cars tend to look after their tyres a lot better than the front-wheel drive and come good at the end of the race. So if he's got this sort of pace at the start, I wonder how he'll be at the end.
Absolutely. Manley was sizing an opportunity there into the final corner. Couldn't quite make it stick on this occasion in the MG, but he's looking racy, isn't he, Manley? Just trying to size the opportunities when he can. Fair racing, and he let Willis through. I say fair racing, and once again the commentary curses come out, because he's just gone bumper to bumper with him through the first corner, with a little bit of a argy-bargy between these two now.
Yeah, nothing intentional there. I think Willis just got a little bit squiffy coming out of that corner, and Lewis had carried so much speed he didn't have a chance to react and slow down. Luckily, nothing came of it.
Yeah, sorry, here comes Wilson on the outside then. He's looking for another move. Davis has actually moved himself into the top 10 now, so has got past Richardson, moves himself into the top 10. So Ollie Davis in 10th. And there's a bit of action ahead with Brown. It's still Manley behind Willis is the real one to watch. But Wilson just trying to hedge his bets. And where can he make this move? It's going to be so close coming into the complex, you feel, between all these guys. He may just be looking at getting a run through the final quarter to get the slingshot effect into turn one.
Yeah, it seems that Ollie Davis, after the bad start, has already picked himself back up in another Subaru. He's looking to make inroads here. He's made a good few positions up when he dropped down. He's now net one up on where he started. And he's probably going to try and push his way past a couple of more of these Astras and MGs.
Absolutely. So Davis now just looking at the back of Brown, but you also want to be watching Lewis Manley, who's actually looking very, very close indeed up behind Willis out in front, and in fact so close that they're nearly side by side, just getting his nose in there, letting him know his wing mirrors. I am here, don't worry about me, I'm still here, I'm going to be racing you as hard as I can. And Manley is just still sizing these opportunities up. It just isn't breaking for him at the moment. He just needs to get this move done and just progress on with his race, but he's not being able to do that. There's some good defensive driving from Willis.
You feel he's got a lot more pace in that car than what he's giving right now, but to be fair to Willis, he's putting that car exactly where he needs to stop him getting past.
Absolutely, again into the right-hander, he just can't find a move on him on this occasion. Davis still closing up on Brown in behind as well.
On board with Wilson. Oh, just a quick one, change back again.
Quick replay, there's nothing too drastic there, but we'll see once again how Manley can fare in going in through these flat out right-hand corners. And again, look, he's just taking that deeper line so he can possibly get the run. There's a back straight that follows now. He needs to get him down towards the complex. He needs to be as close as he possibly can under braking.
In this group now, it's from handover pretty much all the way back to Chris Wilson. That is a lot of drivers in one small piece of track all fighting to get those positions. You lose a lot of points if you go to the back of it, you gain a lot if you get to the front of it. And I'm sure Manley doesn't want to be at the back by the end of this race.
I'm sure he definitely won't be. And here goes Ollie Davis, who's got a run on the Astra of Ben Brown. He's going to have the overtake done maybe into turn one. Again on this occasion, it seems like the outside line isn't the favourable line into there. And again on this occasion, he's not going to be able to make it stick. And Ollie Davis has to slot him behind to hold his 10th place at the moment. But he's looking quite good in that Subaru. A bit of sideways action there, I think. But very, very close for him. And he seems really got some good pace in the Subaru. Winter's dropping back.
Yeah, I just saw a yellow flash up in the first sector, and then Winter dropped down the order to behind Wilson. So I don't know what happened there. We'll try and find out for you.
Absolutely. Now finally, Willis is starting to catch handover in front of him as well. So this is now a battle for 5th place, and there's a long train of cars in behind handover at the moment, and he's going to be very, very tough to defend against all these guys. We've got about 10 laps to go of this one, lap 8 of 18 here at Croft, and it's the first round. Here's a replay of what happened to Ben Winter going through the chicane, but smacking the barriers on the inside the tyre wall, and then just spinning around in dramatic fashion, doing a number of pirouettes before rejoining. He is 12th now.
A lovely dance display there. Unfortunately, it's not going to help him too much in this race.
Absolutely not. And look, as I say, how much that MG is closed right onto the back then of handover in the Astro. Look how wide handover's got, and this is a real opportunity then for Willis, who may just fancy his chances going into the first corner. It may not be on this occasion, though. He's just going to have to, once again, slotting behind and just let it be. He knows his time in this race. We're at half distance, only at half distance, and he stays in behind for now. So Willis is now under pressure though from Manley in behind, so he's in that really vulnerable position we were talking about earlier with one of the drivers in the Clio. It's a really horrible position to be in. You don't want to be in the middle of someone making the overtake is really your opportunity, but then being too open for the defensive opportunities that follow as well.
Pretty much all of them are in that position in the middle of that group. You've got Willis watching Manley, Manley watching Brown, Brown watching Davies. Willis seems to have got a good exit there. Yeah,
and here comes Willis once again on handover. I'm not sure he'll be able to make the move through there. Doesn't on this occasion. And just has to slot in behind. And Manley now under pressure from Ben Brown, who's under pressure from Davis, who's under pressure from Wilson, who's under, well, not so much pressure from Ben Winter. As Wilson getting a bit close with the back there, and actually I think he may have lost it. Indeed, I don't think he's anywhere near the back.
He's held it, but he's dropped off quite a lot of time.
He has dropped off a little bit. Davis looking up the inside for a move, and he's gone for it on Ben Brown, and I think he's got it done. A bit of argy-bargy action, but eventually finds a way through, getting his elbows out there, Ollie Davis, but gets the move done on Ben Brown and moves himself into 8th place.
Orison wants a bit of the action and has a little love tap on the back of Ben Brown there, which has left him prey now for Chris Wilson as well.
Absolutely, and Manley once again looking at an opportunity, perhaps, going in towards the first corner. Not so much on this occasion, and once again Handover has a little bit of a breather, can just sense that all these cars are just racing each other so hard. It's the tyres that are really going to pay dividends towards the end. The rear-wheel drive cars that we say they may not suffer as much, but then let's just see what the advantage is like if you're in a rear-wheel drive car in this position at this stage of the race.
Yeah, and just a quick recap, as we've got 8 laps to go, this race has gone quite quickly. This isn't a battle for the lead, this is a battle for 5th place. We have Cripps away in the lead, a long way, and Richards in 2nd. And I can hear Manley now getting frustrated with not being able to pass Willis. He really wants to get through.
Absolutely. Look at the lead that Cripps has over Richards. It's 5 seconds between those two. Curry's not exactly close to Richards either, so they're all playing a bit of tyre saving, I suppose. They can afford to do that with such a gap like that. And Manley just can't get the move done just yet.
It's feel a bit like time trialling for these guys at the front, just going round and setting their lap times, hitting their markers without any real pressure at the moment.
Absolutely, and that's the best position for a racing driver to be in. Of course, when you're second, that's not the position you want to be in. You want to be pushing as hard as you can to possibly enable the race leader to make a mistake. Look how Davis has closed up once again to Manley in front of him, and maybe going for an opportunity here is Ollie Davis. And Manley still can't find a way through Willis since that incident he had earlier on. Just cannot find a way past.
It's just shown that Willis can drive really well defensively. Earlier, the only way that Manley could have got past was for a slight bit of contact, and I know that Manley's one of the cleanest drivers we've got on the grid. He can make his way past anybody without making any serious problems, but he is struggling today. You just have to remember that the ballast he's got in his car was probably not helping him trying to facilitate a move.
So do you think that's the biggest effect then? Because they are in the same car, aren't they? So the ballast is playing that much of an effect.
Yes, because Manley is an extremely fast driver, like I say, very smooth, and he can make his way past almost anyone on this grid. Even Richards himself, he can make good moves on. And Willis isn't a slow driver by any stretch of the imagination. None of these guys are slow drivers, but you'd expect Manley to be able to get past. And I think that the weight is holding him back coming out of the corner, so he just can't set that move up early for going down the inside or hanging it around the outside, because it just washes him wide.
Absolutely right. I thought I just saw the two Vauxhall Astros going side by side. That was Wilson who was getting close as well. And we've got a replay for you. And this is Manguera at the back, and he's gone straight on down towards the complex and straight into the barriers as well. And not being the afternoon that he was hoping for Manguera, but he's last at the moment. And there, Manley running a little bit deep, and a yellow flag in the second sector once again. And a bit of a love tap again from Lewis Manley on the back of Willis there, and still can't find a way through. He looks on the outside, and here comes Ollie Davis. He's got a great opportunity to get past Manley here. They merely make contact with each other. A bit of wheel banging there between the two of them, but hard and fair racing, it has to be said, between the two. And Ollie Davis just has to slot in for 8th place, and a bit of frustration you feel looming in to the head of Lewis Manley.
And again, this is letting Ben Brown back into this group. You feel like he's dropping back. He's back on the back again. He's going to make a move as soon as he gets a chance. Lewis Manley is in the back of Willis's car here. This is the best chance he's got. See if he can get any tow from the car in front.
He's got to make it stick. That's the most important thing. He's got to make it stick without getting himself penalised as well, like he did earlier on. But I'm sure that's what Andy won't be looking at. He'll be looking to just get this right, just get these overtakes done. And there's a replay here between two carts. And actually, we're going to leave that for a moment because we're going back to the action, and the replay will come back again. And there was contact between
Daniel
two of the
Hyde
Vauxhall Astras.
and Colin Talbot, I believe.
So Hyde and Talbot coming together. Down at the fast right-hander, just braking. It's a great opportunity to make a move down there. And Manley once again looking racy. It's the same corner we saw those two go off earlier with Hyde and Talbot. But still, again, just can't find the way through. Just needs to force the issue. Really does, because this is now mind game sort of business. Watch, here comes Davis. He's up the inside. He's not close enough on this occasion. But it definitely looked deceiving on the cameras, didn't it, that Davis may have had the inside line there.
He's done it earlier to Ben Brown, and I'm sure it went through his mind that he could possibly... Oh, and he's left the door open. Yeah,
Ben Brown's up the inside, and he's actually going to try and fight Ollie Davis for position here, and Ben Brown's got alongside and past Ollie Davis, so Ollie Davis losing a position, but perhaps he looked like he was going to make another one up.
It's the same as always in these touring car championships. You have to attack to get past, but to do that, you have to take wide sweeping lines, and it leaves the door massively open.
And Davis back up the inside through turn one. They're side by side through first corner, and looks like that Davis is going to get the position. Forced him out wide, and Ben Brown's forced to relinquish his 8th place it was. He's now down to 9th place as they all follow the way through the chicane. Someone's, I think, gone off at the first chicane. I may be wrong. I think I was wrong. It looked like someone had gone off there. But now Wilson is challenging on the back of Ben Brown. The two Vauxhall Astras coming together. So a nice even fight between these two.
Yeah, now Wilson is looking to get past Ben as earlier. Winter, I can see behind in the Subaru, is recovering from his earlier pirouettes after the chicane. Let's see how well he can do. I'm sure Ollie's not done with Lewis Manley yet. He looks very racy.
Yeah, all these guys sat behind Willis do look incredibly racy, don't they? They look very aggressive, very much on the limit. There's only 5 laps to go of this race, but they're really going to have to make it stick when it counts. And in the case of Lewis Manley, it will have to be now and never, you feel. Handover's a bit too far ahead now. He's actually started to stretch his legs, but when will the tyres start to give in? That's when we'll start to see people starting to fall away a little bit more. Will it affect the Vauxhall Astra more than these guys behind? We'll have to wait and see.
I suspect by this point in the race we're already getting a lot of tyre wear issues, and here's Ollie Davies again showing how fast he is in that Subaru at the end of this race, putting Manley under all kinds of pressure. And if Willis can hold on to this 6th place to the end of the race, he should be congratulated for the amazing drive he's been doing. He's put that car perfect every lap. He's not made a single mistake.
Absolutely, and Davis looks really racy, really aggressive at the back of Lewis Manley and can't quite get it done through the first corner on this occasion. Manley's still holding his 7th place. It could be more for him because, as I said, Willis is just ahead of him up the road, and we'll see how Davis can really fight him. And there goes, that was Wilson well off the road there, coming out of the chicane, and Davis once again getting a bit of a slipstream. Ben Winter, as you say, is not too far behind now. Manley going on the defensive to keep Davis behind him.
So I think Willis is safe at the moment because Manley seems preoccupied with keeping the points he's got. He's trying to keep Ollie at all costs behind him because he can't give up any more points.
Absolutely. As you said, Ollie Davis has been a bit of an on-off in this championship. Hasn't competed in every race, I don't believe. So doing a fine job to where he is in the championship. I believe he is 6th in the standings. Indeed, he is 6th in the championship. So doing well for himself. But these are the sorts of races that now, as a full-time racer, you want to see him get the most out of his Subaru.
Definitely. He's actually been on the podium already this season. I think he's been there twice already in the Subaru, proving that he does have the pace to be up with these guys. It's a shame he didn't start right at the start of the season because I think he would have been up there with the likes of Richards, Manley, and probably putting a challenge on for the title.
He'd have been that sort of dark horse, you feel, in the championship if he was in it. It's maybe the sort of guy that would ruin the races of the front runners and do his own thing. Okay, now he's trying to do that himself now, but may have been that kind of driver. We never know, though. Maybe next season.
No, hopefully we'll see him again next season, like you say, and he'll be right at the front. And Manley will have another contender to deal with in the shape of Ollie Davies and his lovely coloured Subaru.
It's a great looking car, isn't it? The Loche Esports car. It's a beautiful bit of kit, and we'll see how he can fare with the latter stages of this race. Quickly approaching us. We're on lap 15 of 18. It's flown by this race, and again, Davis just hassling the rear wing of that MG, trying to find a good place to make an overtake. He has got ballast, I believe, as well, Davis, so it's not as much as Lewis Manley, but he definitely has ballast.
Just try and have a quick look at them all here. So Ollie's only got 33 kilograms of ballast, whereas when you look at Manley's ballast is 66. So it's twice as
there
much.
goes Winter. Yeah, he just got up the inside of one of the cars there, and Ollie Davis, I think, going a bit sideways through there. But when Winter's just got past Richardson there. Yeah, the group must have been, you know, as we said just earlier, with the collision that Ben Winter had earlier, this is sort of holding everyone up, and everyone seems to be quite slow. And there goes Ollie Davis up the inside, just trying to get his nose in again, and can't
not
find
get the drive out of that corner doing that. When you pull it tight down the inside, you just can't get on the power, which means that you can't force your way out of it. So he's lost a lot of time doing that. He might have been better just sitting in behind and trying to follow him down the straight.
Biding his time, but this you feel will be the last frantic moments of race one here, and unlike the World Touring Car Series, where perhaps it's maybe less frantic at the opening race, maybe a bit more frantic, who sort of knows, but there's differences in how races go, but no mechanics will have to fix these cars, of course, so they can race as hard as they want for as long as they want to.
Yeah, it means they shouldn't take their brains out like they say that people do in sim racing. They still want to have nice, clean racing, which we've had pretty much most of this race, and it's been really close throughout the entire field. This mid-section's been packed. It's been move after move, people leaving just enough space for each other, and some great overtakes, and it's been a great spectacle to watch.
Absolutely, a really great squabble in this midfield pack, and Ben Winter is finally finding some pace then. Once again, he's 10th at the moment. 9th place is Ben Brown, and he's nearly, I think, may have just made contact with him. Ever so slightly, he has made contact with him, and Ben Winter's round. And the commentator's curse is out again, folks, because again, after speaking, and here goes Ollie Davis looking for a move on Manley. Can't quite get the move done on this occasion, but yeah, just a bit of a nudge, I think, between Brown and Winter there. Not what they were looking for at all. We're on lap 17 then, and this, you feel, is where it's going to start getting a little bit messy, a little bit aggressive between these guys.
Of course, these rear-wheel drive cars, they may have the better tyres at the end of the race, but they don't like it if you touch them. They really don't, and they're quite easy to spin. So I think that was probably only a tiny bit of contact between Brown and Winter, but it's just caused him to slide off.
Absolutely, and look how Handover's been reeled in once again. So the Vauxhall Astra is actually losing it, maybe a bit of time here. Maybe with those tyres in that Astra being the biggest effect, and we'll see if he loses any more time to Willis behind him, who's now looking like he may be in a bit of a race to attack someone as opposed to defend against them. And Davis again wants all over the back of Manley. It's all starting to concertina up. Maybe a battle for 5th place here.
And Cripps, you can see in our picture at the bottom of the corner, he's actually coming round to start the last lap. He's only got one more corner, the hairpin to go. These guys aren't even at Sunny Inn yet.
Absolutely, and look at this battle then. Willis maybe with an opportunity to get past Handover in the Vauxhall Astra. We'll see how that all pans out. Willis needs to get a good run once again towards the complex section, and this will come on to the final lap. Manley looks like he's got an opportunity on Willis, and with this the opportunity, they're going to go 3 wide into the complex, and Ollie Davis has got the inside, and wide goes Manley, and he goes across the grass, and actually this time cuts across and nearly cuts across the Vauxhall Astra, and there goes, that is Willis up the inside, and Manley goes for an audacious lunge up the inside, and he's not managed to make it stick. Indeed he has, but with a bit of door-to-door action there, Lewis Manley moves himself into 5th place.
I don't think that will be allowed to stand, as he actually overtook Handover, who wasn't even involved in all of this. In fact, I'm pretty sure all of them, except Ollie, are probably going to end up with a talking to drop positions or something to that effect. So they can't just take to the grass and overtake someone in front of them that wasn't even involved in that battle.
Absolutely, and I said it may have got a little bit tense, a little bit aggressive between all these guys. Off the road goes Wilson in the Vauxhall Astra, and now Ollie Davis senses an opportunity against Handover, who was only 5th, well, was 5th a couple of laps ago, and here comes Ollie Davis up the inside looking for the move, can't quite get it done on this occasion. Ben Brown's gone too deep, there goes Wilson up the inside, and Ollie Davis is through as well, and he moves himself into 7th place. Handover's lost another position to Wilson, and he's now down into 9th place. Ben Brown will fancy his chances in the other Vauxhall Astra.
Just keep your eye on Wilson, last corner, he's just going to come across the line, probably a few seconds. Cripps, not Wilson, quite completely wrong. Saw the blue and got it wrong.
Callum Cripps then has won race 1 here in Croft, and after all the action behind that he would have known nothing about, it's all been plain sailing for him, as it has been for Matt Richards, who's going to extend his championship advantage, and John Curry as well coming through for 3rd place. A very quiet race for all those guys at the top 3 indeed. Not sure what you'll speak about with these guys after the race, but we'll certainly find something to talk about. Ben Brown looking for a move up the inside into the final corner. Davis has got another move done, I think. Yes, he has, on Willis, up towards the line, and there's a Vauxhall Astra going very, very scrawny as well. Can he get the run up the line? Not quite on this occasion, and in the end, it's Willis ahead of Wilson, ahead of Handover and Brown. Winter will come through for 11th with an action-packed race for himself. Richardson, Talbot, Hyde and Manguera, who actually may have been lapped.
Yeah, he got lapped by Callum earlier on in the stream. Wow, lost for words with that race in a way. Can't believe how much action there was throughout the entire thing.
It was just door to door, wheel to wheel, bumper to bumper. Very, very aggressive racing, has to be said, but some great racing. I absolutely love it when drivers get like that. They get really on the limit, and I love that. That is what makes racing as good a spectacle as it can be. But it is Callum Cripps from Matt Richards.
We'll wait to see what happens. Yeah, we'll wait to see what happens with the rest of the drivers, obviously with that contact earlier on. But we'll come back to you and see what's been going on.
So we've got Callum Cripps with us on the winner of race 1 here at Croft, and it looked like a pretty plain sailing race for you.
It was, mainly because I had no weight. I think because obviously I missed the last round as well, so I seem to do every other round, and then I don't have to carry weight. So, yeah, I got an awesome launch because I had no weight, and it's rear-wheel drive, so you get a better launch anyway normally. And then I just thought from lap 3 or so, when I saw that I was pulling away from Matt a bit, I thought I'll just try and conserve a tiny bit. And the race just went on forever. It was 18 laps, and it was just trying to manage the tyres and all that. I was speaking to Matt at the end of the race, and he was trying to manage his tyres as well. He had 15% left on his fronts, and I had 68%, and I had more on my rears. So I'm looking quite good for tyre wear. Got 75 kilos now for the next one, so it's going to be a bit interesting.
Exactly. So how do you think that's going to affect you with all the ballast for next race?
I don't think I'm going to win, I'll put it that way. But you never know. I'll get a good launch, so I'll probably be first into turn 1, but then I've got to fend off all the other guys. There'll be guys without weight coming through. So it's going to be interesting, to say the least. But it's really tricky around here, the Subaru, because it's just so bumpy as well. Your car's not settled at all, so it took me a lot of time in, I think after race 1 I've got my head around how to balance it. But it's going to be interesting.
Absolutely. Well, it's not really too much else to ask you, is there, other than congratulations on the win and good luck for race 2.
Happy days. Thank you very much.
Matt Richards is joining us then. for second place. And again, for you, it wasn't exactly the most exciting race in the world, but one that you had to get out of the way and get the championship points on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I took the attitude from the start of the race that I didn't really need to fight with Callum. As he's mentioned, he had no weight. I had 75 kilos, so the only way that I'd attack him would just ruin my tyres. And Croft is particularly hard on the tyres. It is quite known for that. And yeah, just trying to manage it towards the end of the race. As he said, I had 15% and he had 68. So that just shows you the difference of what the Subaru can save versus the pace of the front-wheel drive cars. So, yeah.
Absolutely, of course. We'll take you back to qualifying with that tremendous effort, with all that ballast. That must have been some feeling to get on pole position there.
I think I just hooked up the third sector. My sector 1 was okay. My sector 2 I knew was good. But coming into the third sector, I just managed to get the curbs right and get the car turned in and just get a good exit out of the last corner, and it just popped up. So yeah, I was expecting to be third, fourth, around the same sort of area as Lewis. But no, being able to pop the lap in just works really well.
You think ballast is going to have a big effect for you next time?
Hopefully less of. I mean, I'm losing 9 kilos, so hopefully that should help. Callum's gaining 75. I think John, who finished third, I think he gained some weight. Harold might lose some. The key thing is finishing in front of Lewis, who now has a lot less weight than he had in the first race. So just trying to move forward, consolidate the points, and go from there.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on
Thank you
second
very
place.
much.
Best
Cheers.
of luck. Race 2. So we've got third place man with us now in John Curry. Managed to finish on the rostrum once again after his Clio performances this morning as well. And John joins us now.
Cool, thanks.
Oh, you're on the podium. So again, I've just said to the other two, somewhat of a quiet race. Talk us from your perspective.
So I knew going into the race, I did a sort of 10-lap run in practice this morning to sort of know what my tyre wear percentage was going to need to be. So I was reasonably hopeful that my race run would be better than in recent rounds, where I wouldn't be running out of tyres too badly. I sort of, Francis being my teammate, we'd sort of spoken before the start that we were going to be sensible in the first corner, and as it was, I made a decent start and had enough of a margin over him into the first corner to be able to, he could just slot in behind me. And then I knew that Callum and Matt were going to be just driving away, and I knew that the challenge was going to come from behind rather than in front, so I was just sort of trying to hit my marks every lap, look after the tyres as best I could, and I was reasonably happy that I was, had plenty of, by half distance, I was actually, had a bit of margin on my sort of target tyre percentage wear. So, yeah, I was pretty happy with how that went. And then Francis, I think, had a bit more weight than me, so he was struggling a bit more with tyres. So by half distance, it was a case of just trying to maintain pace and just look after things. But it's quite difficult in that situation because you're not really racing anybody, so it's easy to lose concentration, and there's a few tyre stacks around here that are quite easy to clunk if you're not paying enough attention. So
absolutely. And thoughts ahead going into race 2? It's going to be a tough one with the ballast again as well. So
absolutely. I mean, it's gone from 5th place ballast to 3rd place ballast, so hopefully it won't be too much of a difference. But obviously Lewis is going to have less ballast than he had for this first race, so he'll be charging from behind. Hopefully we can have another clean start, clean first corner, and sort of settle into the race run. It'll be interesting to see I expect Callum and Matt to still be quick because Matt had more weight in race 1 than he's going to have in race 2, so I expect he will still be very quick indeed. But it might be an interesting battle now that Callum's got full ballast.
Absolutely, we're looking forward to it, and best of luck for race 2. And
thank you very much.
On the podium.
Cheers. Thank you.
So join us in a few moments for race 2 that will be brought to you here again at the Croft circuit. We're looking forward to seeing how it all plays out with Cam Cripps getting that ballast that is going to be so crucial to the difference and maybe make the difference in this race. Let's see how it all unfolds. Race 2 is up next. Join us for it live.
Before we shoot off for that little break, I've just had confirmation from race control that Daniel Handover has been given his place back, so he'll be finishing 5th in that race instead of 8th, I think it was, that he dropped to, around there. So the drivers that got in front of him unfairly, have all basically been docked a position, I believe, which is fairly lenient of race control considering the actual lunge that was made. So yeah, take of that what will. But hopefully we'll have some more action in the second race and we'll join it very, very soon.
Welcome back to SRBC, the Simply Race British Championships. We're here for more touring car action. Race 2 is about to get underway, and after an action-packed and controversial race 1, we're looking forward to seeing what the ballast and what difference it makes to the guys at the front of the field. Will Callum Cripps get it all of his own way, or will he be challenged significantly more than he did in the opening race here? It was 9.4 seconds the gap last race between the top two, and an absolute madness made it just chaotic midfield scrap that we witnessed in the last one. Let's take you through the grid and how it lines up. So it's Callum Cripps on pole position, and he's got the 75 with ballast on car. Matt Richards is second, John Curry is third, Francis Harold starts from fourth. Daniel Handover was reinstated his fifth place after the controversy of race 1. Lewis Manley starts from sixth and won't be happy to see the rear wing of that MG, I'm sure, in front of him once again. Ollie Davis is in 7th with Chris Wilson in 8th. Ben Willis starts from 9th. Ben Brown starts from 10th. Ben Winter is 11th with Will Richardson in 12th. Colin Talbot starts from 13th. Daniel Hyde starts from 14th. And Edson Manguera starts from the back of the field of his 15-car grid ahead of 18 laps here at Croft.
So obviously in this race, Callum will be carrying the weight of 75 kilos, so he will be the heaviest car. Be interesting to see how he handles that. It was a very good drive from him in the first race. He literally just pulled away from Richards, which is quite easy to do, I guess, when you don't have any weight compared to Richards having the most weight. So it'll be interesting to see how that compares in this race. Also, John Curry's a bit heavier than Francis Harold this race. So now John Curry's got 58 kilos, with Francis Harold having 48. With Lewis Manley on 33 kilos, I'm kind of expecting him to go up quite quickly through the field, if I'm honest with you. I think that should be quite an interesting thing to watch. Absolutely, and once again we'll be seeing Callum Cripps alongside Matt Richards into turn 1, or the front row, the exact same as what it was on last race, just as the reverse way. So Richards this time starts from pole, and Cripps starts from pole. Matt Richards is second, I should say, as they will now funnel their way onto the grid. And this is maybe the most tense moment for all these drivers ever sat on the grid, is the grid itself, the race start, the one bit of the race which, you know, you can put a lot of practice into, but you don't know what everyone else is going to do around you. So it's one to watch with keen eyes, I'm sure, as they file their way onto the grid. Cripps is on the left-hand side, I believe, and Matt Richards is on the right-hand side, and we are getting the red notes are rising. We are ready then for race 2 here at Croft, and we're underway, and it does look like on this occasion that Cripps again has got a good start, and the ballast hasn't made the most dramatic of differences as it did in the opening round. So Richards doesn't lose an awful lot as they head in towards turn 1. Harold's managed to gain a position on his teammate Curry once again into the first corner. Lewis Manley has disposed, I believe, of Willis there. He's moved, sorry, for Handover, he's moved himself into 5th place, so Manley then has got ahead of the Vauxhall as they all funnel their way through. Ollie Davis has gone into the runoff area and had to come back back onto the racetrack, as I say, after the chicane, and that is just the case of what sort of action you're going to expect to see over the next few laps. Wilson and Willis are going very close together. It's nearly 3 wide into the right-hander, and Ollie Davis is just ahead of this group. And can Wilson find a way through then? On Willis is looking very close between them, but who's going to get the inside line? It looks like just about that Willis has got the position ahead of Wilson, so a good start then from Willis and Wilson. They keep themselves all together. Davis is also set just ahead of them, those guys on the road, and a bit deep there goes the Vauxhall Astra of Wilson, who's lost a position now to Ben Winter, who had all sorts of action going on last race, who moves himself into the top 9. Wilson is 10th, and there is a yellow flag in the second sector, and I think it may have been Ben Brown who's lost out on this occasion and has dropped right to the back of the field. But the top 2, bumper to bumper, as they enter the final corner of the opening lap. Yeah, I heard an almighty thump on the stream, and I think that could have been Ben Brown going into the barriers. I'll look through that and see if I can get a replay up for you. While I'm doing that, let's do a quick rundown through the race order, James, although it looks like Manley's going on the offensive into turn 1. If you want to take over. Absolutely. So it is Callum Cripps in the lead from Richards, and Harold is 3rd, managing to get that position off his teammate Curry on the opening lap of this race. And Manley is 5th, ahead of Handover in 6th, and Manley's looking racy
on the back of Curry at the moment as well. So maybe something to watch then for Lewis Manley as he hopes to get his championship back on track with only a few rounds to go of this season. Or in fact, rounds to go. There's only one round after this one. There's a number of races to go of this season. And can Manley halt on a massive attack on the back of Curry? It's Handover 6th, Davis is 7th, Willis is 8th, Yaff Wilson in 9th, Winter in 10th, Richardson is currently 11th with Talbot in 12th. Manguera's made up positions on the opening lap. He's now 13th. Hyde is 14th. Ben Brown, as was described, had the big old shunt, and we're about to see a replay of what happened there. And it looks like he's just been tapped. He's in an Astra squeeze here, and oh goodness me, that was not what he was looking for. Gets a little bit turned around, but hasn't lost an awful lot of time to the guys ahead of him, but not ideal. Coming together then between himself and Hyde, and that was for towards the back end of the field. Here comes Manley up the inside of Curry, and he's got the move done this time as Lewis Manley getting his elbows out again. Lewis Manley moves himself into 4th place with a nice little move there, and now Curry's going to have to watch out for handover behind because he's got a great opportunity perhaps down into turn 1. We'll see it once again, and can this time the Vauxhall Astra of Willett or of handover get past Curry on this occasion? Not quite on this occasion. Slots in behind, and it's 5th and 6th for those two respectively. So once again, Cripps and Richards out in front, and if you look at the best lap time, it is absolutely identical between the top two at the moment. And I wonder then, is this ballast playing a big effect on Cripps' car? He said in the post-race interview last time that he didn't know whether he was going to win this one because of the ballast that was on board that Subaru car. But it'll be interesting to see how much he's able to hold off Richards, who's looking on the attack then. And down the inside goes Richards, and he's looking for the move. They're side by side again. Nearly running on the grass there is Cripps, but keeps it all together. And Richards once again looking for the opportunity on the inside and still can't find a way through as they head down then towards the complex.
I've just had a confirmation from race control that Ollie Davies has to give some positions back for that first lap cut-in of the chicane. So that's all fair because he did make a few positions from it.
Absolutely right. And where he gets a penalty, here comes Richards up the inside, and this time he's got the move done on Cripps, and Cripps can't find the grip on the exit, and Cripps this time has lost the lead, but they're going to go side by side down towards turn 1. Cripps is on the inside, Richards on the outside. It's a last of the late breakers then. Who can get to turn 1 first? It looks like on this occasion Richards might just do it. No, Cripps keeps the lead, and he's managed to hold him off on this occasion. It's a great defensive effort from Callum Cripps and keeps himself in the lead of this race ahead of Matt Richards.
Now Manley's just set the fastest lap of the race, and as you can see in the picture-on-picture, he is all over the back of Francis Harold in the PPR racing car. He's going to fancy his chances. In fact, he's alongside now going into the next corner. He's going to brave it around the outside. This move does work if you get the line just right, and he is edging ahead. But also in front, we've got Richards all over Callum Cripps too. So racing for positions all over the place at the moment.
Absolutely, they're going very wide, the two of them, Cripps and Richards there, trying to find each other some better tarmac to go side by side through there. This is not a place where you'd expect these touring cars to go wheel to wheel. Maybe in the Clios, but certainly not in these things. They've got a bit more grunt behind them. And can Richards on this occasion find a move up the inside into the complex? He's got to go for it down the inside. Here's Matt Richards, he's got the move done on Callum Cripps. It's a great little move, and watch Manley in behind because he's got the outside line, hasn't quite got it done. And then on the inside comes Harold, and he's got the move done, I think, on Manley. He's now looking on the offensive once again. Manley having to defend on this occasion through the final corner, and I think he may have just got away unscathed there, Lewis Manley, but after a moments of lapse of concentration perhaps, he could have been under severe pressure from Harold in behind him. Really, really close racing between all these guys. Brilliant, brilliant stuff.
Now, unfortunately for Lewis, I think that's his best chance of winning the race gone, because Richards has now got in front of Cripps, who has a lot more weight than both drivers. Now Lewis has to get past Cripps, which is not an easy job. By the time he does that, Richards is probably going to have pulled out an advantage. And looking at the lap times, Lewis is only about a 10th quicker at the moment than Richards, with much less weight. I think it's about 40 less kilos. So it's going to be very difficult now for Lewis to overcome that advantage. So let's see if he can quickly get in front of Cripps But looking at Cripps that time, he's setting very similar pace to Richards as well. In fact, the same lap time.
It's identical between the two of them. It's brilliant stuff. Ben Winter seemingly lost a few positions as well on this lap. He was right up in the top, towards the top 10. He isn't on this occasion. He may have made a mistake somewhere on the track. And here comes Lewis Manley then, looking for a move. Not quite on this occasion. Sold in the dummy there, did Lewis Manley, but couldn't quite get the move done on Callum Cripps on this occasion. And we wait then as they head through the complex and into the final corner. Ollie Davis is right up behind. That is Willis in front of him. So can Ollie Davis find a way through? He's got the pace, it seems, in that Subaru, but isn't being able to showcase it thus far. He's going to have to prove a little bit more, is Ollie Davis, in this race. And can he find a way through against Willis in front of him?
So interestingly, Richards isn't pulling out as an advantage as much as I thought he would. In fact, the gap looks like it stayed pretty much the same from first to second. Lewis looks so much faster than Callum at the moment. Obviously, the advantage with less weight, but the drive that Subaru gets coming out of the corners means it's really difficult to get alongside.
Absolutely. And he's just been sizing his opportunities up behind Cripps here, and he just nearly had the opportunity previous lap, but don't rule out Howard just yet. He's seemingly got the good pace in that Vauxhall Astra. It's when the tyres start to go, you feel the Astra may have a slight disadvantage.
Yes, definitely. We saw in the last race a lot of Astras did just massively, dramatically lose pace. In fact, most of the front-wheel drive cars did. The Subaru is just so much better at keeping its tyres through the whole race. But it'll be interesting to see how Cripps handles the weight/tyre wear combo at the end of the race. Even though his tyres will probably be in better condition than Manley and Richards, this is going to be a new experience for him.
Absolutely, well, all the action was going on in the midfield. Last race is now all happening at the front of the field. It's brilliant to see as well, and Manley having to size his opportunity up. Manley definitely looks a bit better, I feel, in the final sector of the lap here. He looks a little bit more on it. Looks like he's got a little bit more pace there than Callum Cripps in front of him. And that may be where he's making up the most time. It doesn't look like he's getting an awful lot on the straight, even with the ballast on board the Subaru. The MG just isn't quick enough, it seems, at this stage to get a move done. Meanwhile, Ollie Davis looks like he's looking for a bit of a lunge on the outside into turn one. He's got Willis to attack, and not on this occasion. Ollie Davis has to slot in behind Willis and stays in 8th place. So we'll see then what Manley can do up against Cripps once again. It's about, well, it's not too much in it between these two, but it's all keeping it together. We've got to remember the tyre element in this race as well. We're on lap 7. Unbelievably, it's absolutely flown by this race. It's crazy stuff. But as we said, the top two with the identical lap time doesn't mean that they're very close on pace at this stage of the race, being in different cars and also being perhaps on a different sort of status of tyre as well. They may find themselves at a bit of a difference there, and how much the ballast is playing its effect as well, and we'll soon see how that all plans out. It's Manley once again. It's all sort of concertinaed up at the front. It's 8/10 the lead that Richards has over Cripps. Manley is 3rd from Harold in 4th. Handover is currently in 5th. Curry is 6th, with Willis, I should say, is in 7th place. Ollie Davis is 9th. Chris Wilson is in 9th place, and Richardson rounds out the top 10. Talbot is 11th, Hyde is 12th. Ben Brown has just got past Hyde, in fact. He's moved himself into 12th. Hyde is now 13th. Ben Winter not having the race that he was hoping for. He's down in 14th. Manguera is last at the moment, and not showing the true colours. But you look at the pace, actually, of Ben Winter. It's as fast as those at the front of the field. It's crazy. Only by 2,000, but it's very, very, very quick from Ben Winter.
Winter is usually a front-running driver. It's quite unusual to see him near the back of the grid. I think he's made a couple of mistakes today. Maybe the track just not suiting his driving style, but he's still got good pace. Just the consistency isn't there at the moment. He's usually a driver that's right there at the end of the race. As we saw in the previous race, even though he crashed at that chicane, he caught that massive group. And was hustling his way through that as well. So it'll be interesting to see if he can make up the time again, to see if he can catch some of the leading groups. I think Lewis now, what he needs to do is he needs to drop back a little bit, save his tyres, and then re-attack Callum and then just go for it. He's going to have to make a move as soon as he comes up right behind him. The later he leaves it, the harder it's going to get for him to get past.
It's the moment of evaluation in this race then for all those guys, of course, with the different ballasts on board and the different tyre status, as we say. It's going to be difficult to see how it's all going to plan out then for Manley. And you may be right, you may have to just back off and then go again, reassess and push on. And that may be the approach that he takes. Meanwhile, Ollie Davis is still up behind Ben Willis in 8th place, 7th and 8th place. That is the battle going on there. Maybe the closest battle on circuit at the moment between the Subaru and the MG. No, the Subaru and the MG, I should say. That's absolutely correct. And Mandy, as I say, just holding his nerve at the moment, just keeping it close together. And Cripps has actually set an actual personal best, I believe. He's dropped the bar a little bit lower, so not by much though. It's only 0.06 of a second in terms of the best lap time between Cripps and Richards, but it's 7/10 about 6/10 the margin between the top two.
Really great to see how similar that pace is between the two of them, considering the weight differences between them. It's really interesting.
Ollie Davis going side by side with Willis then, as we can see in the bottom right hand corner, and Willis just about gets his nose ahead and keeps the line and manages to hold off that Subaru for the time being, but Ollie Davis once again will try and hassle the back of that MG. An MG which has seen a lot of defensive racing, it has to be said, over today. He hasn't really had a lot of attacking, but certainly been very, very good on the defensive drive and really showing his true colours here. Can Davis find a move on this occasion? Not quite sure through the complex, and has to sit in behind for now. But look at that, bumping it, coming then through the right-hander of the complex, and then towards the final corner. He's up the inside as Ollie Davis. He's made contact with him, but is he going to get through the corner cleanly? Yes, he's absolutely fine. And Willis does keep the place and keeps ahead of Ollie Davis for now.
Just a bit of a love tap, letting him know he's there. Just in front of those two as well, we've got Curry and Handover, just separated by a little bit. It is opening up a little bit through the field, but Ollie and Willis still at each other's throats in terms of attacking. Willis has probably been the best defender all day, to be fair. He's just put the car in the perfect place at all times, which has made it almost impossible for the car following to pass. Looking back at the front, it almost looks like Francis is...
Davis up the inside, sorry to go across, he's got the move done finally on Willis, and he's moved himself into 7th place. Sorry to go across here.
No worries, I'm just saying that Francis looks like he's actually catching Lewis more than Lewis catching Cripps now. In fact, he's dropped quite a bit off of Cripps now. Cripps' pace has really upped in the last few laps. In fact, I can see him being right on the tail of Richards very, very soon.
If that's the case, then maybe Cripps is deciding to push now and maybe have to save later on his tyres. Maybe going for that approach where it may be the vice versa, or getting Richards to push as well, and maybe forcing him into something that he didn't want to do, and that's push right now. But Cripps is second, and look how close he is to the race leader of Matt Richards. It's very nip and tuck between the top two. Really can't separate them. It's about 0.4 of a second the margin between them at this stage of the race, and it is really the battle for first in this race. And can Cripps pull off an absolute masterclass with the ballast on board and win this race? It would be some ask for him, and it really would be some set of skills.
A massive skill, and I think this is a very mature drive from Callum. I have a feeling that earlier in the race he maybe just let Richards go, thinking, look, I'm going to look after my tyres for the end of the race and then come back at you then. You know, he didn't fight the position ridiculously hard, he didn't do any silly moves, he kept the tyres in check, he's not spun the rear end of that Subaru too much, and in practice I noticed he was very, very aggressive with the car, probably just trying to find the limits of how he can drive it. Now Callum Cripps races in a Euro NASCAR, which is probably one of the most tail-happy cars on the planet, so I'm sure he's more than used to that, controlling stuff like that with his right foot, so he's going to be a master of keeping those tyres in check, and I can see a move coming on. He's shaping him up. He looks so much more planted through the corners.
Absolutely. It's all about having that steady right foot, I suppose. It's also having the steady left foot, but if it's a racing driver, they say, oh, I never use the left foot. That's tame. Let's see what Cripps is able to do then against Richards in front of him on this stage. Manley's still not exactly left this group, but it is ever increasing the gap between the top four. So Manley is dropping away a little bit and needs to find his pace again against his nearest rivals. He's finding it a bit of a struggle to just keep up with them at the moment. It's not something that maybe you've come accustomed to with Lewis Manley, but so this race he just needs to think about it, think wisely, think about his next opportunity and when he's going to be able to take it and when he's going to push, more importantly, on that set of tyres.
I'm almost feeling like he's maybe, and this is very weird to say for Lewis Manley, but maybe he's giving up because he's not reeling that gap in. I know Lewis very well and he will push and push and push, but if it gets to a point where he can't close the gap, he's going to lose heart a little bit. I can just see it happening. Like, he's not seeing that gap come down. In fact, the fact that he's seeing Cripps pulling away with more weight is probably the most disheartening thing for him at the moment. Like, he's probably thinking, what do I need to do now to catch these two? I guess his best case scenario is these two start battling side by side, and he can then close the gap that way and maybe see some opportunities. So potentially he's just dropping back for now, saving his tyres for the end of the race. I feel at the end of the last race his tyres were probably worse than quite a few drivers, to be fair, because he did seem to be struggling a little bit. As up the inside goes Cripps. Very well done, very clean. Will he just drive away into the distance now? That looked almost easy for him.
It did look very textbook move up the inside into the final corner. It didn't look like there was much of defence at all from Richards in second place. So maybe they're doing this weird game of just swapping positions and finding the limits where the tyres are working at their very best. And on this occasion for Richards, he's just dropped away and lost the position there.
To be fair, but to be fair, with that final corner, if you do have a car on your inside, you really do just have to leave it in the room. If you don't, you're just both going to come together. It's just going to ruin both your races. So Matt is an intelligent racer. He races in other touring car championships online. He's raced this circuit many, many times, so he would have known to be sensible there. Now suddenly he looks faster than Callum. Like, he's not letting him get in front of him. If anything, he's come alive suddenly.
Absolutely, it's nip and tuck between those two. Ollie Davis is looking very racy again as well. On the back this time of, that is Curry ahead of him. It's John Curry finished on the podium last time out, and he's just looking for a move here as Ollie Davis to find a way through. You can see that in the bottom right-hand side of the screen, and we can see if he's going to be very, very audacious into the complex. He has been today. We've seen a fair few opportunities for him. He's going to go for it again. And trying to get the line there. It's close enough between them at the moment, but at the moment here goes Davis up the inside as well. He's managed to get a move done on Curry there, and he's moved himself into 6th place. That Subaru looks mighty, mighty fast at this stage of the race. Really impressive stuff then from Ollie Davis, and gets himself into some good points scoring positions. His pace isn't looking too bad either. His fastest lap of the race so far is a 26.0, which is not very far off what the best lap of the race is so far. And Ben Winter, who has actually lowered the bar there in the Subaru, with a 25.7. That's a good effort in race trim, and I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with that. But he's going to have to keep pushing on. He's 13th at the moment, Ben Winter, and he's got some time to make up against Ben Brown, who isn't too far ahead of him, but it is about 3 or 2.5 seconds or so between those two at this stage of the race.
Yeah, it's as I was saying earlier in the race, Ben Winter just comes alive in the final part of the race. Like, setting the fastest lap this late in the race is almost unheard of. My current driver of the race is definitely Ollie Davies, so he's very fast, becoming like a Daniel Ricciardo of the Touring Car Championship, just always overtaking people, just always going forward, seizing those opportunities. As soon as they open up, he's up the inside, and that's exactly what you need to do in a tyre wear heavy race. Like, if the race is dictated by tyre wear, the less time you are following the car in front, the better for your race. Absolutely,
and look at Manley, who's now close right up again to Matt Richards, his championship rival. Those two are getting close on track again together, and Cripps has started to pull away. He started to just take a breather, bolt away from the rest of the field, and he's now ahead by some margin, about a second between himself and Matt Richards at this stage. And now Lewis Manley will sense an opportunity perhaps against his championship rival in Matt Richards, and this could get very, very tasty indeed. I'm very much looking forward to this.
Yeah, these two are some of the best racers you will see at Simply Race. They are phenomenally fast. Some of the things they do, you just can't believe, so this should be an epic battle. I think Lewis will always take a second over a third, especially against Matt Richards. He has to close that gap, because Richards is just pulling away and away in the championship. Very impressive, and it's his first full season this year for Matt Richards in this championship, and it's been a very impressive showing, really like showing Lewis Manley like a proper challenge.
Absolutely, and that's what we want to see. We want to see all action at the front of the field. Ollie Davis is right up behind another car once again. That's Handover that he's just up behind. And Manley looking for an opportunity as they go into the complex once again. The final corner seems to be a place of attrition for overtakes. We'll see if Manley can pull one off here in the MG. Not on this occasion, although he's trying on the outside. He's going to try and get the switch back perhaps to maybe get that momentum off the exit of the corner and get the drive down towards turn 1.
I almost feel that was a little bit desperate, though. You don't really get an amazing drive from that tighter line. Although he is in the slipstream, he has got a good run, but I think he's just a little bit too far back to think about it this time round. But if I was him, I'd just try and tuck behind him for the super fast section of the circuit, and then maybe just try and outbrake him. You've got to do it somewhere surprising with Matt Richards. You can't just traditionally overtake him. Yes, he will be very sensible if you throw it up the inside, but you've got to catch him off guard.
Absolutely, and Ollie Davis has made another position up. He's got past Handover then. He's up into 5th place. As you say, he's having a great little drive there as Ollie Davis. Very impressive stuff. And you're right to say about Manley as well. Maybe trying it at a place where he's not going to predict it. Maybe just trying that wheel-to-wheel combat that perhaps we have seen of Manley in this race so far, but maybe not the contact side of things anyway.
Yeah, it's been an oddly archy-barchy race for Lewis. It's not usually this aggressive, although he did have a controversial penalty in Thruxton for taking out another car, which he was very angry about. But he's very clean usually, so it's unusual to see him with this sort of aggressive style. At the moment, he's keeping it much cleaner in this race, which is really good to see.
Absolutely, he's just got to size his opportunities up then against Matt Richards in front of him. Meanwhile, at the front, it seems like Callum Cripps is bolted, and with only 2 laps to go, you would feel that this is really his opportunity to take another win here in Croft, and he has proved some brilliant pace at times in this race as well as Callum Cripps. And after dropping back behind Matt Richards and getting now back ahead of him, and he's pulled away at some margin as well. With the post-race interview, like I say last time, he didn't really think he had an opportunity here to win this race, but from pole you always have an opportunity, and he is likely to take this one as well, as Manley once again riding up to the back of Matt Richards in the MG in front of him.
I think Callum's going to be thrilled at the end of this race. I think that's going to be the happiest I've seen him in a while. He may be surprised, but I'm not. I know what Callum is like. He's a super fast driver, super mature. I mean, the drive he's put in to win this race has been perfect. He lost the lead, he took it back. There was no panicking. He just saved his tyres, made the right move at the right time. It was a great drive, and now he's just pulled away, just to confirm that he fully deserves to win the race.
Absolutely, and Manley again looking racy up behind Richards on this occasion as well. Can he find a way through perhaps? It'd be interesting to see if he can do it. And look at Richards having to defend against Manley, who's going to try and go the long way around the outside here, and will be the inside for the next corner. Cuts across there, Matt Richards through the complex and managing to stay ahead of Lewis Manley on this occasion, and stays himself into 2nd place. But Manley is looking very racy now. Looking racy once again, I think. What I was just about to say there. We'll see how it all pans out for him as one of the Vauxhall Astras going off onto the grass there. That was John Curry versus Willis, and Wilson has got an opportunity here to pounce as well. And look how much he's being rode up towards the pit wall, and he's trying the opportunity around the outside into turn 1, and this time he's got it done as Chris Wilson, and the man moves himself up to 8th place. Good little move on Curry, who was on the podium last time out in last race, who struggled a little bit this one maybe with that ballast on board. Hasn't had the same opportunities, maybe the same pace he had last time out in the last race. And now we're looking at Manley again all over the back of Richards. It's just staying this way at the moment on the last lap of this race. Callum Cripps has bolted from the front, and he had his work cut out for him really against Matt Richards earlier on in this race, and now Richards looks like he's just going to be able to hold on against Manley unless there's an audacious last lap move from Lewis Manley to get himself a 2nd place spot. It really could be final corner action then for Lewis Manley against Matt Richards, but you feel these two won't get into that sort of combat. You really do. Through the complex they go. Callum Cripps is going to come round the final corner though, and he is going to take all the plaudits here. Race 2 goes to Callum Cripps. What a brilliant drive from the Subaru driver, and he wins race 2 here in Croft, and a brilliant performance as well. And across the line comes Matt Richards, who will finish 2nd on the road here again today. Lewis Manley finishes on the rostrum for the first time today. Harold 4th, Ollie Davis wasn't too far behind in the end with a stellar effort to finish 5th. Handover 6th, Willis 7th, Wilson 8th. It's Curry 9th, Richardson 10th, Ben Winter with the fastest lap of the race will come across the line only for 11th place, and we want to see a bit more from him maybe in the last round, the last race I should say. Talbot will finish in 13th place, Ben Brown I should say finishes in 12th, Hyde will finish in 14th place, and Manguera finishes last of this race. But for Callum Cripps, he's really stepped up here with the ballast on board and performed brilliantly throughout this race, and he'll be massively happy with that, I'm sure. Will Callum Cripps, and we'll look forward to seeing his thoughts in the podium with the podium interviews after the race. Richards again finishing well as well, and we will get ready then for the podium interviews afterwards. With us right now, we've got Callum Cripps with us, and it's his thoughts after a pretty attrition, well, a race full of attrition really. And Callum, it wasn't as easy as race 1, but certainly a race you'll be happy to win with all the ballast on board.
Yeah, it wasn't easy at all, to be honest. It was easier later on. I used Matt as kind of a guide to see how quick he was. I didn't let him through, but I didn't make it hard for him. So he got me on the inside to the final sector, and then I just thought I'm going to follow him for a few laps and see how he does. And then, yeah, he just got a bit too slow towards the end, so I thought I'll go overtake him. But it's quite easy with the rear-wheel drive car, especially out the hairpin, because you just get the traction a lot better. But still, my tyres were more than 60% at the end, which is more than I'm sure Matt's were. So it's looking good, even with weight, because I didn't expect that to win that at all. I was expecting to drop quite far back. But Lewis was quick as well, so it's going to be interesting, to be fair. I'm going to get a good launch again, I think, still. But race 3 is going to be very, very interesting, because everybody's going to be going very hard.
So with the tyres, you had to manage those throughout that stage of the race, but when were you sort of thinking about managing those tyres? I mean, it was a mid sort of stage of the race where, it was getting quite close between you a lot of the time, but it was when you had to sort of make that decision to just save those tyres a bit more?
Yeah, it was kind of halfway through. I mean, the first few laps, I think Matt went by on like lap 4 or 5 or something like that. And then Lewis was behind, but he wasn't catching at all. If anything, he started to fall back later on. And then, yeah, it was straight from like lap 2. I tried to conserve, but then I was going quite hard, and I should have maybe backed off a tiny bit. That's why Matt had me. I think he had better tyres at that point. But then, for all them corners, sunny in and sunny out, you've got to put a lot of pressure on the front tyres, whereas obviously mine's rear-wheel drive, so I can kind of four-wheel drift it if I wanted to and get out of it. Because there was a few slidey moments in that one. But, yes, it was all right. It was actually kind of the weight almost balances the car a bit more around here, so it's not so bad.
Well, congratulations on the win once again, and best of luck for race 3. Right, so we've got a second place man, Matt Richards, with us once again. Another second place for him today. We'll see how he gets on in race 3, but for now, let's see his thoughts from race 2. So, Matt, again, it was a race that wasn't as quiet as the first one, has to be said, but a lot of defensive driving on your part.
Yeah, I mean, the first couple of laps, I could see Callum's pace was a little bit slower. And while I was trying to look after the tyres, I thought I need to get in front of him, otherwise this just isn't going to work towards the end of the race. I was keeping an eye on Manley's progress as well, just to make sure that I was trying to be in the right place, work on the points. Saw him come through and I was behind Callum. I was trying to make some moves. Saw Lewis get through into third and thought, right, just need to sit here now, defend, go from here. So I gave Callum a little flashlight. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to be. And then I think from there he didn't seem to defend as much. Maybe he got the wrong end of the stick, I don't know. But I managed to get through and then just trying to push and work on the pace then. I'd saved quite a bit of tyres in the first couple of laps. So I tried to use some of that, push forward a little bit, see if I could get a gap. But that Subaru is just so on it. I was mainly focusing on the gap to Lewis, so when Callum got to me, I didn't want to fight too hard. So yeah, just trying to work on moving forward from there and just defend from Lewis towards the end of the race. Then.
Well, I mean, what your thoughts going into race 3 then? Because again, it's not going to be an easy race. We don't know what the grid's going to be with a random sort of grid as well. So, your thoughts going into race 3?
Beat Manley.
Well, it's easier said than done, isn't it? Well, congratulations on second place, and well, best of luck for race 3. Well, that was second place man in the end, Matt Richards, leading the championship, and now we come to the runner-up in the championship at the moment in Lewis Manley, who finishes third today. And Lewis, after the very, very hectic first race that you had today, race 2, trying to carve your way through as quickly as possible and getting right onto the back of Matt. So hard race for you out there today.
Unfortunately, yeah, race 1 really ruined because Willis, Rich's teammate, just held me up all race long. Just couldn't pass him. And then I finally made it, but then he clipped me off at the penultimate corner. And then race 2, I had to work my way up because starting 6th, I was on the inside this time because pole position is frustrating because it's on the left-hand side rather than the right. So I was happy at the start of race 2 because I made some bold overtakes on both of the Pink Panther cars. So I thought I could win this race because I was lighter than the both ahead of me. Obviously, because the Subaru is very good on tyre wear because it's rear-wheel drive. And I tried to go for it at the end with Richards, but I just ran out of grip, so therefore I couldn't do anything about it. And his tyres were better than mine was, so I had to try something. But frustratingly, he finished ahead of me again, so I'm not really convinced I'm going to really retain my title this year.
That's a bold claim at this stage of the season, but we'll look on a more positive note towards race 3. And your thoughts ahead of race 3? You're going to go out full guns blazing, ready to win the race?
Absolutely. I'm always going to go all guns blazing because I need to finish ahead of my tyre rival because I think now the gap's probably near enough 30 points and I've got probably no chance of winning this title, but I'm always going to give it my shot. But I've won 3 in a row, but it looks like my 4th is not coming at the moment, so he's going to win his first, so it's going to be very hard from here.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on 3rd place and best of luck for race 3. And you can join us for race 3 in just a few moments' time as well, where we've got the random grid draw ourselves as well. We'll look forward to that ahead for race 3. We're going to do the grid, actually, we're going to do the grid, random grid now, in fact. So keep watching and we're going to get that grid sorted out for you as we go on. Right, so we've got Lisa with us, and she's going to be picking the numbers out of the brilliant mug that we've got with us right now. Yeah. Number 6 is on pole. So that's sixth place in the race, which was... So Daniel Handover will start from pole position for race 3 here in Croft. And we go from the reverse grid that way. So 6th down, I believe, to 10th will get the different positions. So it is Handover on pole, and it'll be interesting to see. We'll see how that all plans out. But you can join us for what is sure to be an exciting and enthralling race for race 3. Join us in a few moments when race 3 returns. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Simply Race British Championship for this touring car action. Race 3, we've had 2 brilliant races thus far in today, and we had some brilliant Clio Cup action earlier on this morning as well. So there's been a lot of great action around this Croft circuit that's posed some real tough challenges for the drivers. But now we go to, as you would have seen earlier on, the reverse grid. This is where a random position is drawn out of the cup, and we just change the grid up really from that position upwards. So on pole position is Handover then. So Daniel Handover starts from pole, and alongside him is the Subaru of Ollie Davis. Third on the grid is Harold, and Manley is fourth. Richards is fifth, and this time for Callum Cripps, he isn't on the front row, and he starts from sixth. Same could be said for Richards. Willis starts from seventh. Wilson is eighth. Curry is ninth. And rounding out the top 10 is Will Richardson. Ben Winter starts from 11th and had the fastest lap of last race. He'll be looking for a similar fate here in race 3. Ben Brown is 12th. Talbot is 13th. Hyde is 14th. Manguera starts from the back of the grid once again in race 3.
So after his performances in the first 2 races, all eyes must be on Ollie Davies. This is a perfect opportunity for him. Let's see what he can do. We know he can overtake Handover. He's done it a few times today. Can he do it and pull away and save his tyres? I think he's a potential favourite for this race victory. Even though Manley and Richards are only in 4th and 5th and Howard's in 3rd, they've still got to get in front of him.
Absolutely, and they've got to help but feel. Ollie Davis has got to do this as quickly as he can, because we've seen over the first 2 races that not passing cars quick enough is not going to lead you in good stead in the race. It can maybe destroy your race as well around here. So the Croft circuit posing its challenges, and for Ollie Davis and Daniel Handover at the front of the field, this is going to be a titanic fight, you would feel. But all eyes is being said on Ollie Davis to see what he can do in that Veloce Esports car. Can he drag it to a win around Croft? It would be his first win in the series, and something that really, really would put a massive confidence boost, not only in him, but for seasons gone ahead as well.
I'm really looking forward to this one. We've had 2 very action-packed races in completely different ways. We had in race 1 the sort of processional, controversial race in the mid-pack, which then just livened up on the final lap. And then in race 2, we had the epic battles for the lead. I can't wait to see what race 3 delivers.
This is going to be so interesting, isn't it? Well, there is your grid, and it is lining up now, and you can see on the left-hand side, just about Daniel Handover starts from pole, then Ollie Davis alongside him. Francis Harold starts from 3rd. Alongside him is Lewis Manley as they all file up on the grid. And the engine notes rise. We're ready for race 3, and it is racing again in this Croft, and it's a good start from Ollie Davis, who's got the better of Handover off the line, and he's actually ahead of him as they dart down towards turn 1. Lewis Manley's managed to make a position up as well. Harold looking in defensive into turn 1 and can't quite hold it, and Manley then is up the inside and into 3rd place. He said he was going to race hard, and indeed he's doing that. He's onto the grass though, and that's not the place he wants to be. They're side by side as they enter then the chicane. Who's going to yield through there? And surely they've not gone good together. They have come together. Manley off the road, and then Harold just slotting in behind for 3rd. Here comes Cripps up the inside. He's into 4th. He's past 1. Can he get past the Vauxhall Astra before they head down towards the right-hand bend? Not on this occasion. The Subaru slots in behind. Manley then is then under the fence, and he's actually being tapped again sideways. They're 3 wide then. Here comes Cripps, Richards and Manley then. 3 abreast they go just before the corner, and eventually one had to yield, and on that occasion it was Lewis Manley.
Worst case scenario for Lewis for his championship. Now, he said he was going to go aggressive, but there's so many risks that come with that. I just think he went too aggressive. You're not going to win the race on turn 2. You're just not. You need to be patient. He knows he's going to be faster than the cars in front. He knows he can overtake them through the race. It's quite frustrating to see him being this aggressive. He's better than this.
Absolutely, handovers all over the back of Ollie Davis up the front as well. They're getting very close between each other, but Davis manages to hold on and leads then the field away from Handover. Harold is 3rd after the slight mishaps with Manley on the opening lap of that race. Richards is 4th, Callum Cripps is 5th, Lewis Manley is 6th at the moment, and not the position he needs to be in to really keep this championship alive, is in 6th. 7th is Willis, I should say. 8th is Wilson. 9th is Ben Winter. He's made up places on the opening lap of this race. And John Curry is in the top 10. Hyde has made a few positions up himself. He's 11th. There's Brown in 12th. Talbot is 13th. And 14th is Manguera. 15th is Richardson after a poor opening lap of this race. But Handover looking like he's a stronger asset here. He's looking to attack Ollie Davis. Round the outside he goes into the right-hander, and Davis has managed to hold on this occasion and continues to lead this race. There's 18 laps of it, and we've had 2 thus far. It's getting mighty close up the front though. This is going to be one hell of a race, I feel.
It is, and they're starting to pull away a little bit from Harold too. Harold not really closing the gap, probably have liked to. So these two just seem to have the pace on the rest of the field at the moment. Now, is Davies going to play the Callum Cripps game and not fight too hard, save the tyres, and then come back at him at the end of the race? We know how good overtaking is. In the background, I could see Richards.
Yeah, he was just looking for the move there, wasn't he? But couldn't quite capitalise and make it stick on this occasion. But on this occasion, look at the lunge he's gone for then, as Harold into the final corner. The most audacious lunge we've seen all day. And he's paid off then for Harold. Moves himself into second place with a tremendous lunge up the inside into the final corner. And that actually there, Richards up the inside, he's managed to make it stick. He's held on then for now against Callum Cripps there. And the battle between those two rages on once again. What a tremendous opening few laps. The race 3 here at Croft. It's been brilliant action so far.
Let's just keep it clean, guys. That's what we want to see. Clean. That overtake up the inside really worked for Francis Harold. It was out of nowhere.
It was brilliant stuff, but now look at them all continuing up, and Ollie Davis can make the break then in the Subaru out front. What a brilliant moment then for Harold in second place. It's a tremendous move, and he's just got to watch his mirrors then for handover behind. Richards in behind as well, Cripps in there as well. Manley's not too far behind. It's a major squabble for all position behind. Any of these cars could finish on the podium with a momentary lapse of concentration. Manley's on it again, and Wilson is under pressure this time from Ben Winter, and Winter looking racy once again in race 3. Can he make a move on Wilson as they dive down towards the final couple of into the complex? Not on this occasion. Wilson stays ahead for now. Looking for background for Manley and Willis. They're getting close together again, and that's the last rear wing Manley wants to see today. Is the back of Willis's car, and Willis and Manley. There's actually at the inside of Cripps. He's got the move done. Bit of wheel banging between himself and Cripps, and Lewis Manley has taken 5th place then away from Callum Cripps and has got past him. And you've got to watch in front as well, because Handover is looking racy as well, and he's maybe going on the offensive of Harold up the inside into turn 1, and on this occasion may have just made it stick, has he? No, not quite. It's getting so close out there between all these guys. Brilliant stuff.
I really wonder if the stewards will look at that overtake. It was very aggressive.
Very, very aggressive indeed, but you know what? I like a bit of aggression. I'm not sure what they'll make of it, but I rather liked it, I'll be honest. A bit of wheel banging doesn't go down a treat for myself, and here goes another move, and he's a lunge up the inside, goes Handover, and this time he's got the move back past Harold here, and Harold's on the grass, and that's allowed Richards through. He's got past one, he's alongside the other as they make the run down towards the left-hander, and this time you feel Richards has got the opportunity on the inside. Got it done, yes he has, and off the road was Handover, but Richards moves himself into second place with a tremendous move. Look at it all, capitalising in behind. Manley's made it, trying to make a move again, and Cripps is on the outside, trying to get the move done on him, and Manley's still on the inside. Can he hold the position here? Looks like he has against Cripps, but Cripps is going really aggressive on the back of Manley then. Into the complex, down the inside goes Cripps, and he's nearly got the move done, nearly made contact, and has made contact with Manley, but it all comes together and it's all unscathed for now.
It's getting very argy-bargy now. I kind of feel like...
Oh, contact! He spun around!
The back of Harold. Now Lewis just outbraked himself there, or did Harold brake really early? Hard to see from that angle, but Lewis, I think he's going to have to tone it down.
Yeah, the aggression is getting a little bit too out of hand here for Lewis Manley, and just can't quite keep his head at this stage of the race, you feel. And looking behind now, Curry's looking to make positions back up again. Willis has made another position up again. He's now into 4th place. So the top few, Ollie Davis has bolted out the front, 2 seconds in front, in fact, ahead of Matt Richards. 3rd is Handover, Daniel Handover, I should say. He's currently 3rd at the moment. Willis is 4th. Then you have Cripps in 5th, Curry is 6th, Harold is 7th. Manley dropping down positions is now 8th. Talbot is 9th. Richardson has managed to get up back into the top 10, believe it or not. Hyde is now 11th and Manguera 12th.
We have to compare the 2 styles of driving between Richards and Manley in this race. Richards has been patient, he's been intelligent, and the moves have come when the opportunities have arisen. Lewis has created his own bad luck, I'm afraid. I hate to say it because he's a great driver, but he needs to be a bit more patient in this race. I feel him losing the championship lead makes him think that he just has to go for it.
Yeah, I think that is the big balance, isn't it? It's the psychological approach you take to the race. you're absolutely right what you say about Matt Richards. Very calm and collected, it seems, this weekend. Hasn't really shown any sort of moments where he's looked a bit off guard. He did lose the lead to Callum Cripps. He hasn't won a race yet today, but he has proved he's got the pace and consistency that matters most. Ollie Davis sets the fastest lap of the race so far with a 26.1, and he'll be happy to see that in the Subaru out in the lead at the moment. It's 2 seconds. We're on lap 6 of 18. It's been a tremendous opening 6 laps. Very controversial, a lot of wheel banging, a lot of hard racing, but it has been brilliant to witness. So Davis keeps his lead out front, as I say, at the moment, for about 2 seconds from Richards, and Handover in 3rd place. And let's not forget Handover started from pole position. But the front few are starting to make the break. They're starting to get away from the rest of the pack, and that is really what they're looking for in this race, just to get that gap as big as it possibly can be. And they're doing a great job to just pull the gap away from everyone else behind them. Willis is a good few seconds behind Handover, in fact, so it's a tough ask even for the likes of Cripps to get it close, to make an opportunity for himself to find himself a chance to even get a podium in this race. But Cripps is looking racy up behind Willis. It could be another chance into the complex. He's gone for it before, and he's off the road again. Is Cripps running very wide through the right-hander, and this occasion can't quite get the move done towards the complex. Handover closing in on Richards as well, so it's all starting to concertina up again towards the front of the field. And here comes Callum Cripps, who's looking on the outside. Is he going to go for the switchback? You feel he will, and he has done. And Callum Cripps is going to move himself perhaps into 4th place. He's going to have to try and find the traction, and I'm telling you what, Willis isn't going to find traction out on the grass, is he? He's lost the position there in the MG to Callum Cripps, who's taken 4th place, and now Lewis Manley has set the fastest lap of the race with a 26.0. So it is all starting to close up once again, and there's a barrier who's gone down. Ben Brown set the fastest lap of the race at 25.9, so the fastest laps coming in thick and fast on lap 7 of this race.
I believe Ben wins. Ben Winter is out of the race, I believe. I heard from race control something regarding him being way down and potentially out of this race, which is unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
He's had some really great pace attempts today as well as Ben Winter. It's a shame to see him racing anyone's way. But that's the way that racing goes sometimes, especially on this sort of racing as well. And I'm sure he'll come back stronger for the final round in Brands Hatch. And he'll join us in weeks' time for that one. It promises to be another enthralling action of touring car action and Clio Cup action as well. It should be a brilliant watch. Manley racing his heart out here and trying to find a way past Harold, and after the audacious lunge Harold managed to perform in the few laps of this race, it's been a bit of a backwards turn for him in this one, and Manley will now size an opportunity perhaps towards the final corner, thinking better of it on this occasion. Really aggressive racing from Lewis Manley, and not what people have become accustomed to seeing of him over being the 2018 champion. Callum Cripps has gone fastest of all with a 25.7, and the pace that Callum Cripps is showing at the moment is very strong indeed. Really proving some good pace in that Subaru.
I think Callum's frustrated at the moment. He probably lost out more than anyone else. Yes, Lewis dropped further back, but I think Callum has the pace to again be a top 3 driver in this race, and I feel that opportunity is now much smaller because of the incident. He's about 3 seconds behind Handover in 3rd place. He could potentially make that gap up, but I feel he's going to be very frustrated in that car right now, as is Lewis Manley, but you can only blame himself, I think.
Absolutely, I think he can only blame himself. There's a couple of overtakes you could feel just a bit rash, really. Maybe just a bit out the blue. Not many people expecting him to go for those sorts of opportunities, but it's not been the cleanest weekend at all so far, you could say, for Lewis Manley. I'm sure, some people would agree with me when saying it's not been the cleanest weekend. But he's now looking to size up another opportunity to make an overtake on Harold in front of him. That is the battle for 7th place.
Battle is looking to hot up quite soon. Lewis does look a lot faster, but once again, and he's up the inside of the final corner. Very good move, a little bit of a barge, but I think that was clean enough. And also in front, we've just got Willis up against Curry. Well, Curry up against Willis, sorry, and Willis being the perfect teammate once again. He is keeping Lewis behind him.
Yeah, and Lewis said how much he loved that in the post-race interview last time. I'm sure we'll be loving it even more now. Of course, that was sarcasm. We can see Manley again just trying to hassle and harry the back. This time it's Curry in front of him, and they're looking at Willis as rear wing once again, and Willis has been maybe the defender of the race of the weekend. Round. He's been brilliant at defending, and he's defending even more now against Curry, who's looking on the outside of him and can't quite get the move done. But he has been some tremendous defending from Willis in this round, and he really has proved some really good pointers here as to what he's able to achieve. Fifth at the moment, and some more good championship points for himself. Ollie Davis still out front though, and the gap is not as big as it was. In fact, Matt take the opportunity to pounce in this race. We'll see what he's able to do with the number of laps still. Harold in front here, so it's another good opportunity, and then one taken for Lewis Manley, who moves himself ahead of Harold and into sixth place, I should say. But now he's behind Ben Willis, and he's going to be the race again. Look at the defence he's going on here, because Harold's got a bit of a run on him as they head down towards the right-hander. And this has been a place where plenty of people have made overtakes around the outside and tried the switchback move as well. And on this occasion, Ben Willis Harold stays in behind Manley on this occasion. But look at the gap at the front of as well. It's only 4/10 of a second between the top two. It's rather close between them, and I'm sure we're in for 8 laps of just pure attrition between these two. Ollie Davis has raced the start that he needed to and is now on the defence. He has to defend against Matt Richards here. And how will Matt Richards approach this? Well, he can't really. He's got everything to lose, you could say, in terms of the championship. Ollie Davis has got nothing to lose at all. He's simply got to race his heart out here in the Subaru and hope that he can just get the better of Matt Richards. It's been a tremendous effort from both in this race. Matt Richards especially making 3 positions up in this race. Lap 11 of 18. Davis leads from Richards from handover. Cripps is 4th. 5th is Willis. 6th is Manley. 7th is Harold. 8th is Curry. 9th is Talbot. And Richardson is in the top 10. Hyde is 11th. It's Brown in 12th, Manguera 13th, Wilson. Ben Winter is the only non-finisher of this race thus far.
Now I think Davies just has to be intelligent with his driving, and he could potentially hold Richards back. Like, at the moment, Richards is probably shredding through his tyres to have brought this gap down. It was over 2 seconds at one point. Although looking at his fastest lap, it's a 1:26.0, which is a little bit off of what the faster guys do. I think they don't want 25.9s or 25.6s for Cripps, which is really fast. So whether Matt's saving his tyres for the whole race, I'm not sure if they're going to be wearing as well as Ollie's, who just has to drive sensibly, I think. If he keeps Matt behind him, the longer this race goes on, the easier it will get for him.
So in the previous lap, his handover actually got his best lap of the race, as you can see. It's or you could see it was a 25.9 for him on the previous lap, but he's managing to just try and bridge the gap, trying to close it down once again. We begin lap 12, and actually at this point of the race, it's a difficult one for a man who's never won a race in this series to really think, well, you know, he wants to win, he wants the race to be over as quickly as possible perhaps. Some people want the races to go on, some think otherwise, but I'm sure he's not in a position to be thinking, well, I've got a real chance here of having a proper race. I just want this race to end as quickly as possible. He's got a massive opportunity to win this race, Ollie Davis, and he's doing a brilliant job to lead it out front against Matt Richards, the championship leader.
Yeah, we can just see in the picture-in-picture, Lewis is hounding Willis, but we've seen this before. It's very deja vu. Will Lewis be able to get the better of him this time round?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he can dispose of Willis on this occasion. It's going to be great to witness that. I'm absolutely looking forward to that. When Richards still, again, right on the bumper, right on the rear wing of that Subaru. He's really just harrying him now into a mistake. Lap 12 out of 18. There's 6 laps to go and the foot tapping begins for people in support of Ollie Davis and also people in support of Matt Richards. Can they find a way to keep it clean with each other and just have a brilliant scrap towards the end? It would really make this race weekend something to behold. And Richards going late on the brakes, and there goes Manley actually on the outside. You can see in the bottom right hand corner looking for the move on the inside. Have they made contact again? No, Manley's managed to get ahead. He's just got a nose in front on this occasion. Yes, he's side by side with Willis, and this time you feel that Manley's got the opportunity to make the overtake, but he's lost a position perhaps to Harold behind him, and now Manley and Harold go side by side down towards turn 1. And can Manley hold the inside and just outbrake the Astra here in a straight line? He should be able to, and I think Manley's going to hold on for now, and he does so. But it's that really horrible moment for a driver, as we've said all race long, where you've got just the middle driver having to defend and attack at the same time. The best way of defending is attacking, and in this occasion Manley just manages to hold him off, and the top 4 are so close distance with each other now. Davis, Richards, Handover, and Cripps is joining the fray as well in 4th.
And Cripps was over 3 seconds behind, only a few laps to go. His pace is electric at the moment. Don't count him out for a victory. Anything could still happen.
Yeah, he's just going to have to do the defensive drive here, is Davis, and it's not going to be easy for him at all. He's got to use every inch of tarmac to stay ahead of Richards at the moment. Cripps going off the road. Here comes Richards up the inside, looking for a move. Can't get the move done on Davis on this occasion. He just slots in behind as they come through the complex once again and towards the final corner. But it is getting mighty close at the front of the field with just 4 laps or so to go around for race 3 here in Croft. It's been a brilliant action really at the front. Brilliant action throughout the race. Not the cleanest, but it's certainly been a very interesting race.
It's definitely had its talking points, which will be remembered for a long time in the championship. I'm sure Lewis will remember them for a long time too. This is just getting better and better. You know, we've got 4 super quick guys now on the same piece of tarmac. You've probably got Cripps with the best tyres at the moment as well. I've got a feeling that Ollie's not looked after his tyres that well, to be fair, because his pace isn't fantastic at the moment. So you could see Cripps as he goes up the inside of Handover, makes it happen. That was a send it and a half. He said earlier in the driver briefing, when did I last send it? Well, there you go, right there.
Right there, and it was audacious but brilliant. You love to see moves like that. It's when they go just full aggression, fully on it. Richards looking for a move on the inside, nearly taps Ollie Davis round, but the Veloce Esports driver keeps it ahead for now. It's a brilliant bit of driving from Davis. He's doing his absolute utmost to keep Richards behind him for now, and Cripps is in 3rd, and he's a little bit further back behind them. And actually I think Handover's looking for a move once again on Cripps there. No, he wasn't. He's just staying in behind him and doing everything he can to try and get the move done on him once again. He's looking for a lunge into the final corner. Can't quite get the move done in the Astra on this occasion. And Cripps having to work the wheel and keeps himself in 3rd place and on the podium once again in this round.
Just heard from race control. They've asked Manley and Harold to swap places, so Harold has let Manley through. Not really sure what that was for, though.
I can't recall actually seeing anything, to be honest with you, so we'll have to take a look and see what the issue there was. But Manley finally getting a decision perhaps going his way.
Yeah, the only incident I remember between those two was the hairpin one when Lewis went into the back of him, where I thought Lewis just misjudged his braking. Maybe we were wrong. Maybe Francis did brake test the cars behind.
Perhaps so. Well, the gap is still, as we say, very close out front, but Ollie Davis is the man leading it, the field at the moment, and ahead of Richards, ahead of Cripps. As we know, Cripps has got some mighty pace in that Subaru, and he is going to be a real menace with a few laps to go of this one. Lap 15 of 18. He is really the danger man in all of this, and the one that everyone wants to be able to just hold off for the next few laps or so. It's going to be close, but I'm sure nail-biting as well. But can Cripps keep pushing and perhaps get an opportunity to sense the opportunity to go for a move on the final few laps of this race? Davis seems to have pulled the gap out a little bit more, though. It's now about a second between himself and Richards.
He has. I'm not sure, again, if Richards is playing the smart game, just back off and then go for it in the last few laps. He doesn't want to overheat his tyres because he knows he's got Callum behind him, who he knows is very capable of overtaking him from race 2. I still think Callum could win this race. It doesn't look amazing for him at the moment, but his pace is so strong at the moment. I can't see him being behind Richards for much longer.
Anything can happen, and it usually does, is once the famous quote goes. And on this occasion, you feel Cripps has got that little bit more in the Subaru that perhaps everyone around him doesn't, but it's going to be nail-biter. It's going to be close, and if he's going to get this win, he's going to do it with very, very little time remaining.
3 out of 3 wins as well with reverse grids is almost unheard of, so that would be a phenomenal result. I'm sure he's thrilled to just be in third after the race he's actually had, but Richards really is dropping off of Davies. I think those Subaru tyres are really working for Davies now, and they're just giving him the edge, because I don't think Richards would let him drive that far in front strategy-wise. That's not what he's like. Maybe drop back to about a second, but at times I've seen it go to 1.5 seconds. It's a little bit too out of reach with just a few laps to go.
Absolutely, and Davis has done a brilliant job on those tyres on the Subaru. He's doing a fine job, but it may have just been he was saving his tyres maybe at that midpoint of the race. Maybe that was the opportunity Richards had and he didn't take it. Maybe that's when Ollie Davis was saving his tyres.
Definitely. Now, as a little bit of proof, now this might sound like a conspiracy theory, but if you look at Willis's pace, he's actually very fast. I think he's got the fastest first sector of anyone, potentially. It's definitely right up there, but the rest of his lap is fairly slow. Who is that helping right now?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? We've seen this a lot so far this race, haven't we? And it's not short of action again, and here comes Cripps. He's on the outside of Richards on this occasion. He's trying to go on the outside. He's adamant he's going on the outside. He's going, I'm staying on the outside here. And Cripps is side by side with Richards as they down towards the left-hander. And this is an opportunity too good to refuse for Callum Cripps, who's looking for a move now around the outside. He's off the road as he tries to get the move done. Well, the stewards look at that if he gets the move done, because his car was off the road when he made the overtake. So maybe they will look at it, but we're not too certain. Well, Callum Cripps is into second place. And he's now going to go on a ravaging rage and a ravaging hunt of the leader in the Veloce sports car of Ollie Davis, who's just about to come through the complex to begin his final lap.
The track limits around this circuit are automatic, but the race director may decide to overrule that because it was all 4 off the track. But if I was Callum, I'd just go for it now. Although he is 2 seconds off the lead, it's going to be a big ask on this lap. What can he do? Let's just see if he can go for it.
Yeah, Davis has done everything he can do on the final lap of this race, and he's done a brilliant drive. He's led every single lap of this race, I'm pretty sure, Ollie Davis. He hasn't given in around this circuit. 2 seconds is the advantage that he has. Callum Cripps went for an audacious move. It's a great move if they're allowed to keep it. So much commitment from Cripps to get past Matt Richards there. And Ollie Davis is coming through perhaps for a famous win for himself. He'll be loving this, a first win of the season. And surely he won't go down and miss. He's had podiums this season, as Ollie Davis, but not on the top step of it. So it'll be a great result for him. I'm sure he'll be mighty chuffed with that.
100%. And I'm sure everyone watching at home will agree that Davies has probably been one of the drivers of the whole day. He really deserves this victory. It's been a phenomenal drive. Callum's not letting him get it easy, but 2 seconds is just too much, I think. It is down to 1.7, but there's only a few corners to go now for Davies. He's just got to keep a calm head, and he's got the victory in his pocket, and a phenomenal one at that.
Too little, too late, perhaps, for Callum Cripps in the Subaru behind him, but through the complex for the final time, and Ollie Davis is going to come through, and Veloce will be very happy about this, I will be certain. Daniel Hyde has set the fastest lap of the race on the final one, so he must have made a pit stop and go in. Yeah, absolutely. So around the final corner comes Ollie Davis, and he is going to win race 3 in fantastic circumstances. Ollie Davis wins race 3. Brilliant drive from him, and it's Callum Cripps in second and Richards in third. What a tremendous afternoon's worth of racing. Brilliant stuff.
100%. And what must be said, what would the result have been if Cripps was not held up by that manly battle? I think it would have been really close on that final lap. He gained 3 seconds on that lead group, which is incredible. Like, I think the gap to the second place car was around 6 seconds earlier in the race. In a touring car race, to bring that sort of gap down, that's a phenomenal drive.
Yeah, it's a great effort. He managed to have a bit of tyre left in the end of that race as well, which is the most amazing thing for Callum Cripps.
Manly finishing 7th place. He won't be happy with that, but He should just be happy to get some points. Francis Harold down in 8th. Lost 5 places that race. Not a great race for Harold. Good race for Curry, up 3 places. Very good result for him. And fastest lap for Daniel Hyde, which I'm sure he'll be very smug about, but soft tyres are soft tyres.
Absolutely right, and you're always going to set the fastest lap on the best tyres, aren't you, at any given moment in a race. Ben Winter was the only non-finisher in that one. Unfortunate to see him not being able to complete the full 18-lap distance that we had here today, and he had some great moments, did Ben Winter, but just not coming together for him this weekend. He'll be a little bit disappointed with that. But for Ollie Davis, a win, and a win that he will savour for a very, very long time, because it is his first win in the CRBC Championship, and maybe the first of many, who knows, but a big step in his career in this touring car series, and we're looking forward to seeing what the top 3 have to say in just a few moments' time. So we've got the podium finishers with us right now. So Ollie Davis, of course, the race winner after a dramatic win that he took from pole to flag. From second to flag, he managed to win here today. Led every single lap. And Ollie, it was a brilliant drive, and I'm sure one that you'll save for a long time.
Yeah, it was a lot harder than I expected. You know, like starting P2, you got the inside line going into turn 1, and with the Subaru start, like the rear-wheel drive, I thought I might be able to get away, like, and pull a gap. But then Richards got through in second, and I was like, he just wouldn't leave me alone. He was like right on the back of me, and he stayed with me for about 8 laps or so. And then I knew towards the end the Subaru would be slightly stronger because it's better on its tyres. And then Cripps got through into P2, and I was like, when I thought it was over, I saw him go into P2 and I saw him closing the gap. So I was like, oh, got to keep pushing. But
what were the nerves like then, with a few laps to go? As you said, you had Richards behind you, then you had Cripps behind you, and he was coming at some pace behind. Yeah. So it must have been pretty nerve-wracking, it must be said.
Yeah, well, it wasn't too bad, actually. I felt relatively in control. But yeah, it's been like race 1 and 2 were relatively like frustrating because I felt like I had the pace to mix it with the top guys, but then I was mired down in the pack, so like I couldn't really do much. But then race 3, I knew it was my chance, so I had to try and win. I had to try and
a confidence boost going into the final round and next season as well. It must be great to win and finally take the first victory.
Yeah, I was. I've had a couple of podiums, so I was looking forward to hopefully getting a first victory before the end of the season. So I don't know where that puts me in the championship, but hopefully it's towards the top 3, and then I can try and get the top 3 in the final round.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations, and well, best luck in the next round. But thanks very much for joining us.
All right, thank you very much.
That's Ollie Davis. We've got second place man in Callum Cripps, who's managed to keep his 100% record on the podium so far today. He's had a really, really dramatic day worth of racing. The final race was really where we saw him put it all out the bag with some brilliant overtakes at times. But I'm sure he'll be delighted with the second place finish.
I imagine he'll be thrilled having a race 3 second place. And here he is, the man himself.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, I needed about 2 more laps, I reckon, and it would have been there. But it was difficult, especially when Lewis got past me, and then some of the moves were like make or break kind of thing, especially outside of sunny in, which you don't normally do. But yeah, it was quite good fun actually, and everybody was really respectable. Especially, I don't know about the other end of the grid, but our side was really good. So yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, so you had an exciting race to say the least, but. I suppose with 100% podium finish, today, and 2 wins and a second place, you must feel really good about that. That's a really good effort.
Yeah, especially as I only signed up on Friday because somebody else couldn't make it. Which is what I did the last time as well. So yeah, it's like as soon as I did practice this morning in the Subaru, I was like, oh, this does not suit the track very well. It was okay, but the balance wasn't right at all. It was bumping all over the place, and then with a bit of weight I was able to manage it better. The tyres were a lot better, as you saw in the last race. Well, me and Ollie just started to pull away, but I just ran out of laps really, but I think another lap or 2 I'd have really closed in on him. But yeah, I managed to maintain a good lap time throughout the whole race. I was quite happy, but a few incidents, but I didn't really cause any of them, so
Absolutely.
I'm happy.
Yeah, well, congratulations on second place, and well, hopefully we look forward to seeing you in the next round if you join us.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm not doing something else, well. Yeah, thank you.
Well, congratulations.
Cheers. Who do we need?
So that was Callum Cripps, the runner-up that we just had there. Now third place man is Matt Richards, who finishes once again on the podium on a 100% record today. Unfortunately not taking the race win, though, for him thus far today. If you want to grab the microphone, we can have a quick chat with him. And, well, third place today, but it was, well, in this race at least, a bit more action-packed than maybe the first 2.
Yeah, tried to make it work, but those Subarus are just so good on the tyres that you've got to make the move early on and try and defend it towards the end, but I just couldn't. Everything that I was trying, he had a defensive move for, so fair play to him. As soon as I saw Callum coming back as well, I knew that was going to be trouble towards the end of the race. So I was trying to push for that as well, which worked against me, but that's how these things go. At least I scored a good haul of points today.
Absolutely, and with that, those good haul of points, and unfortunately Lewis Manley not finishing the sharp end of the field, it means that the championship is looking very, very strong, isn't it?
Very decent, I think. I mean, I came in today with a 17-point lead,
yeah.
And just constantly trying to work at consolidating that and just holding it there. Not worrying too much about my position, but more about where Lewis is and pushing accordingly to that. So the start of race 3 was really important. I had to put my car in the right place. I think I did, and he got shuffled back a little bit. Had a bit of an incident from what I saw in the mirror, and I just had to go from there and just try and move forward.
Absolutely. Well, as I say, congratulations on today and
Thank you
third
very
place
much.
Today, and look forward to seeing how you get on in the final round.
Cheers.
Hopefully you take that championship. Well, there was the top 3 in the end, and your top 3, Davis, Cripps and Richards. You've had some a great day's worth of racing, it has to be said, for all 3 of them. They really have pulled it out of the bag, and race 3 was something of real attrition, real action, a fantastic race, and we look forward to seeing what they hold in the final round at Brands Hatch.
Yep, some fantastic racing today. If you just bear with us, we'll go to the final podium ceremony for the top 3 drivers today. It's been a great day racing, I'm sure everyone watching will agree, and some phenomenal victories as well. Some absolutely epic drives, some very mature drives as well. It's interesting because in the last Clio Cup round we had, not the one here, the one at the previous circuit, there was some extremely mature driving by Christian Kelly, and it almost feels like some of the touring car drivers have watched that and taken a lot of that on board and then applied it to the touring cars. But it's been great to see. We're going to go to the podium very soon, though, so bear with us and we'll be ready to go.
Oh, I've damaged it. Thanks, Grant. I'll say that again. Some great racing. Sorry at home that my mic wasn't working. So finishing on the bottom step, 40 points collected, taking race 3 win is Ollie Davis. Finishing second place, 9 points ahead, was Matt Richards. But taking a step, 2 race wins and finishing second in the race 3. I had to think about that. Is Callum Cripps. So just going to take a quick picture. Okay, well done to there in the touring cars. Next round will be the first weekend of October. Thank you for watching at home. Thanks, James, for the first time you've been here. Well done. Thanks to the drivers, and we'll see you in the next round. Good luck. Take care. Bye.